and UAVS. There are many other names out there. It's about to get fun because we have Joe as well as Sharif here on the Midday Show. All right, Obi, one more show and you're almost done, my guy. Join me and Obi again back right here at 2 p.m. Thank you for all the love and the support. Keep it going. Thanks to Ramin, Fabian today. Thanks, Brendo, for filling in there the desk with some of those stories. And thanks to Bears vs. Bulls. And we will see the rest of you guys at 2 p.m. For now, it's the Midday Show. Ciao.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That is your boy Joey Options. I'm loving the specs.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
They look solid.
Yeah,
and I'm Sharif, and we're gonna wait for everyone to come on over from the other stream. Shout out to Darwin, the proper paradox, and the world's greatest mod, Ram. Bears versus Bulls. We got the OG Gaurav. We have another OG, Anurag, Derek Thompson, and small cap gapper trader extraordinaire. Booyah to you too. Shout out to Scott H. Ezekiel. We got Patrick Riley and Callum Mitchell Miller. We got Baron and Marcos Vicyan Novak. We got Juan Padilla and 1320. Oh, Adrian, shout out to him as well. AJ Fiorenza, Big Asian. It's not a good day unless Big Asian is in the chat. It's Molko joining us as well. Kalua, shout out to Gohoos and SRMRM. I always screw up this person's name. Paul Milligan, Jeff Lee, Fiddlebeck. We got Mike Breeze and Ron. Shout out to Other Zinc. Let's go to you too. Rivian Millionaire. Shout out to Rivian, TX, Hellscat, and Blue Arrow joining us. Options Trader. That's down in your alley right there. We got Jones McLean and Day Trade Dad. Love that name. We got Susie. Hello to you as well. We got Echo Max and Parabolic FOMO Drip. Shout out to Elon. We got Epic Strategy and Hamlet. Rob Jenkins, wave to you as well. Shout out to Jeff, Joe, and Oliver Casteros. And we're going to use one more here. Jay Haas. Ayo, back to you. I hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. And yeah, it was fight week. We had a fight Friday. We had a fight Saturday. One disappointed, the other one was pretty good.
Yeah, well, you know the boy loves fight week, so your boy loves fight week. So yeah, it was absolutely a fantastic weekend from a fight game standpoint. And we get some gem sessions and some hockey going too. So that was it. What'd you get up to other than the
honestly, bro, not a whole lot. A lot of fam jam stuff. We hit up a couple of restaurants with the Old Men and Mom Dukes. Hey. Everything was good, though. We're going to jump into this lesson, but I want to know if you have something to cover before
Sharif, you know what we're going to do. Sure. We're gonna hop into some top performing sectors here, so we'll see what we got going on. We're going to start with the Win Play Show. And when we go over this, I think you're going to be able to see a little bit of the sector rotation because we had what was at the bottom, now was at the top last week, and then now we're going to kind of rotate a little bit here. So in first place, we have consumer discretionary up a whopping 1.46% on the day. And then we got the communication sector up under just 1% on the session. And then energy with the show up 0.9% on the session. And in last place, Sharif, we have the healthcare up a whopping 0.03% on the day, all right? So a little bit of sector rotation there because it was leading last week. Same with the industrials, up 0.07% as well. And then in third last, we have real estate up 0.1%, my guy.
All right, I'm gonna just show one quick chart here. ASTS, ASTS. This is moving up despite a catalyst. I see you guys yelling about this in the chat. This is not a new one for us. And let me tell you why this is likely moving. We know that SpaceX looking to launch the Falcon Super Heavy, or Starship, excuse me, a second time. They're going to have different parameters for their test this time, but it's going to be all eyes to see if they can catch it with the chopsticks again and go 2 for 2. So usually when there's that kind of space catalyst, other space names are moving. ASTS up 7.4 right now, 7 2/3 as I speak. Holding the 10 exponential on the 5 moving average. We're going to talk about this one. It's going to go on my side chart, especially if I'm done the lesson and this thing takes out the high of the day. That's what I want to see, that 2640. I'm going to keep my eye on this one. But until then, we're going to do a little bit of chatting right now about moving averages. We're going to talk about how to use these moving averages to identify trend. We're talking more long-term, more swing trade specific today than really intraday. So let's put on our learning hats and get started. Understanding trends, as we always do. Let's begin a little basic. A trend is a sustained movement of prices in a particular direction. What you're looking for is higher highs and higher lows. You're looking for lower highs and lower lows. It should be up and to the right or down and to the right. Super simple, right? Identifying trends is crucial, though, if you're in a trade. Why? Because successful trading requires it to help determine the overall market sentiment and the potential profit opportunities that may lie in front of you. So that's why we're looking for trends from a very, very high level, very basic level here. But in order to identify these trends, we need some tools. And the tools I'm going to submit to you here are called moving averages. We kind of got into them last week. Most of us are familiar with them, but the newer traders may not be. So let's talk a little bit about them. Moving averages, MAs for short, are powerful tools used to identify these trends. Here's how to use them. First method for moving averages, the crossovers. So this is typically when a shorter period moving average, and I'll submit to you, there's any number of different moving average lengths that you can have, but some of the more common ones, the 10, the 20, the 50, the 100, the 200. Those are just some basic ones. Then you get a bit more nuance with them. Instead of using the 10, some people will use a 9. Instead of using the 20, some people use 21, etc. But essentially, they're just derivatives of one another. So this is when the crossover methodology is when a shorter term moving average crosses above a longer term moving average. It's signaling to you a bullish trend reversal, meaning that the trend was bearish before and now it is flipping to bullish. Conversely, though, same thing in the opposite. When a shorter term moving average just crosses below, so from north to south, a longer term moving average, it can signal a bearish trend reversal. So that's when we're talking about the crossovers, Raymond, but that's not the only way we can use them. We can use them for slope as well, right? So the slope of a moving average can indicate the strength of a trend. A steeply sloping moving average suggests to you a strong trend, while a more flat moving average will suggest a weaker or no trend at all. And then there's also the price action. Obviously, this kind of goes without saying. Moving averages can be used to confirm the price action. For example, if the price is consistently above a rising moving averages, it supports the bullish trend. How many times have you guys heard me say when I'm trading these small cap gappers, look, the price keeps bouncing, highly respectful of the 10 exponential moving average, of the 20 exponential. So what you're looking for there is that magnetic effect, as OB once described it as the price seems to find its way back to the moving average only to bounce off it. So different ways we can employ the moving averages. This is not an exhaustive list by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just providing you with just a few. Those are the three we're submitting today. And here's what we're talking about. We're talking about crossovers. So a couple of things I want to point out about this graph over here. Number one, moving averages using the crossover method is absolutely useless in consolidative markets. In fact, you'll get chopped up to no end. You'll hate trading and you'll never come back again. No, that's an exaggeration. But seriously though, what ends up happening in consolidative markets is you get umpteen amount of false indications to both bullish and bearish. Why is that? Because you're not trending. You're in a sideways motion. Even though you have peaks and troughs within that consolidation, there's no consistently higher lows and higher highs or consistently lower lows and lower highs. You've got zigzagging everywhere. When you have that kind of look on the chart, moving averages are to be not ignored, but look for something different until you have that established trend, which I would submit to you on the right side of the chart. We look like we start trending. But the mid, that, kind of the middle part of the chart there, you would get cut up to no end using the crossover methodology. So with that in mind, let me show you exactly what we're talking about here when we're talking about crossing over. Look at this red line right there. That is the 50. The darker one is the 200. So typically, when you get a 50 crossing the 200, that is what we call the golden cross. It's a very bullish signal. Again, we need to be in trending markets, not in consolidative markets. And conversely, when the 50 crosses below the 200, we call that the death cross. And again, it's a highly reliable signal, but again, in trending markets. And here's a bit of the slope methodology. Look at the 50 over here. Highly, highly respectful of the 50, whatever this stock is. I think I removed it purposely over here. But look at this. Price action seems to always find some support at that 50 until it gives up the ghost right over here. So highly respectful of the 50. The retracements come into the 50. So this is kind of what we're looking at with respect to slope. And then price action confirmation as well, kind of the same thing there. We're looking for, in this particular instance, to be used as confirmed price action. So if price action keeps bouncing or rejecting off a moving average, that gives us the idea as well that this is trending to the upside or the downside, and it just has that magnetic effect into the moving average, only to find buyers or sellers, depending on whether they're going long or short at that area. And some common moving average combinations, I kind of alluded to this earlier, but I'll do it again. That 50 and that 200-day. Okay? Simple moving average. And if you don't know the difference between simple and exponential, go back to our initial lesson. We kind of explained that nuance. So this particular moving average here, the 50 and the 200, this combination is often used to identify the longer term trends. When the 50-day moving average crosses above that 200-day, it's often considered a strong bullish signal, suggesting a potential uptrend. The true is, the opposite is true as well. So when the 50 SMA crosses below the 200 SMA, it's signaling to you a potential downtrend. And this combination is particularly useful for identifying major trend changes in the market. 50 and the 200. But that's not the only one we're going to talk about. A shorter dated one, that 20-day and that 50-day, this time it's an EMA. Well, why are we using EMA for one and SMA for the other? Well, I kind of gave you a little bit of a hint last week as to why we would do that. For the shorter term trades or something more shorter term, I would submit to you 20 and 50 are a bit more shorter term. It helps to use the exponential because it more heavily weights the recent price action and discounts a little bit the more historical, whereas the simple will give each date or each data point equal weight on whatever time frame. 50, 200, day 1 is the same value as day 199. Not so when we're using the exponential. So when you're using more shorter term time frames, it may help to use the exponential as opposed to the simple. Okay, so that 20 and that 50-day EMA, let's talk about that. This combination is often used to identify shorter term trends. When the 20-day EMA crosses above, so from south to north, above that 50-day EMA, it can indicate a bullish trend reversal. Conversely, the opposite is true. When that 20-day EMA crosses below the 50, from north to south, it can signal a bearish trend reversal. And this combination, I would submit to you, is more responsive to price changes than the 50 and the 200, obviously, making it more suitable for those shorter term trading strategies. And this is what we're looking at right here, Ram. Look how nice that golden cross is. We're chugging along on our merry way, and then boom, we wake up one morning and that 50 crossed over the 200. So what do? We log into the personal account, we hit the buy button. No, oversimplification, but it's one thing to look for there. We're also looking for more confirmation. Technical analysis always requires confirmation. So this is what we call the golden cross. When that 50 crosses the 200 from south to north. Conversely, the death cross, when you get the 50 crossing the 200 from north to south. That's when we hit the sell button or we go short. Again, oversimplification. And so just to leave you some final ideas here, some tips for using these moving averages effectively. Consider the market conditions. Moving averages may not be as effective in choppy markets or during periods of high volatility. I kind of alluded to this earlier. Moving averages are almost useless in consolidative markets. You will get chopped up and you will hate life, okay? And also periods of extreme volatility where mean reversion is much more likely to happen. Moving averages also can be a bit bamboozling. So that's number one, tip number one. Tip number two, Ram, is to combine them with other indicators. So using these moving averages in conjunction with other technical indicators can provide more robust signals. And last but not least here on the screen, adjust the moving average periods, experiment with different moving average periods to find the best combination for a trading. Are you sleeping? A trading style and time frame. So I hope everybody prints up that storm.
Hey, geez. Let's go. Yeah,
What are you looking at over there?
Good stuff. Yeah, good stuff. I'm over here keeping my eyes on something that's just absolutely roaring, and that's IBIT and Bitcoin. Keeping my eyes on that. And then it looked like the overall market wanted to take another leg up. as NVDA kind of broke this consolidation phase and then decided volume wanted to step in. But then we kind of reject the higher day as of right now. But I'm waiting for Bitcoin. IBIT is looking like it's pulling back, and one thing that I really like a lot is that the volume on the pullback is dwindling, right? It's diverging. So we're getting low volume on the pullback. So I have no doubt in my mind that this thing at some point will continue to take another leg higher, especially if this is going to be a genuine move. I'm going to be looking to participate in that as well. We have the volume weighted average price trending with the overall price of IBIT as well too, which is really important. You want to see that trending with the stock or the ETF in order to say, hey, is this really where true value is on this asset? And if this continues to move higher, then that means the pullbacks will be probably a little less deep, and then you'll be able to join a trend and at some point. And Kendall Lopez pointed out as well too on Tesla that the volume is diverging. We are starting to pull back a little bit. It is up about 7.3% on the session as well too. I just want to point something out on Tesla. And I know a couple of guys in the back took a really, really big advantage of this here on the trade. So this is just a blank chart here. But as you can see, this is the opening drive. This is when we get the market to open. And then sure enough, this is something that I want to see. Within that first minute, I recognized this. And Wayner in the back took really big advantage of that. So good work on him. Is that when I seen that this strong candle put in with this strong catalyst after we gapped up, and then you have this indecision just after the opening auction, then I was looking to get in at the break of this candle, but VWAP was just trading a couple points higher on Tesla. So I'm like, all right, let me wait. If this is going to be a genuine move and a potential turnaround after that drive, we just had some profit taking here, and then and then prices stopped, we get that halting volume, and then it's as if the asset wants to continue to go higher, the underlying stock. So sure enough, it did. And then we had this print here, as I mentioned before. And then we have this strong bullish candle here. And then we had a consolidation phase and then another leg up when I was in right around here. So I would have liked to get in here. There's always ways to improve your entries, but I did not, unfortunately. But I still got a good move on it. So I'm really happy about that one there. So super fortunate on that. And then we're going to talk about some Bitcoin too, because I mentioned this before. Yeah, of course. Really, Dan Freak, why wouldn't I trade ETFs? You don't trade ETFs? Why wouldn't? I'm not going to be subjective to anything. Yeah. I mean, if it's moving, it's moving. So why wouldn't I move that? Why wouldn't I trade it? It doesn't matter what the letters are on the stock or whatever the ticker is you're trading.
The liquidity on this thing is insane.
Yeah,
too.
exactly, right? So why would I not? Why would I not trade that, right? Especially if it's trending. So we'll keep that in mind. And I mentioned this yesterday on Bitcoin, and this is something that I like to see when you see a strong asset, especially when you have all this pent-up demand here on this accumulation phase, and then we break the all-time highs on Bitcoin, and then we put in this strong leg. And as you can see, it had the inability to really come and test the lows. So this can indicate that, hey, we're really, really strong. And even though we have this consolidation phase right here, I'm still looking at this as an ABCD pattern. It took a little longer than I was anticipating, I think because of this big wick here, but that's fine because now I think we're really going to go A, B, C, and then we're going to take a new leg higher and push for those make new all-time highs. I'm not saying necessarily today, but within some time in the near future. And we know when this asset starts to move, it starts to move ferociously and fast, right? We have massive sessions here going from 78K to a high of 87K, so that's almost a $10,000 move in a session. So when the flame gets lit up under this thing, then it's really, really gonna move. And I think that since we consolidated inability to make any new lows, I think at some point this next push can be close to 100K, and I think a lot of traders and some of the big guys have that 100K price target in the back of their mind. So when you kind of get into that psychology standpoint of the trading, then that helps you take advantage of these really big moves. So yeah, RC Clark Kent in the house. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I like the look. So that's my look there on Bitcoin and on Tesla. Those are some things that I'm really, really keeping my eye on right now. I'm waiting for this pullback in IBIT, and I'm waiting for price to tell me that it's going to turn around, because as we are pulling back, that volume is falling off a cliff, and that is something that I want to see for that continuation in strength. Sharif, what do you got going on there, my guy?
I'm in APLD, Joe, and it better hold up here. Otherwise, I'm Gonzino. We're in this name. It's at the volume weighted average price in and around that $8 area. I liked it for a couple of reasons. One, VWAP. Number two, whole dollar area. Whole dollar being psychological sometimes, not all the time. Support and resistance. So it's going to have to hold up here. The other area that kind of has me concerned is the price action support area is a little bit lower than $8. It's at this area crest over here, right at 790. So this is one of those ones where possibly resistance flips to support. We'll have to wait and see. Smaller trade just started off here. It's going to have to hold up again at 8, or I'm Gonzino on that one. I'm also looking at Affirm. There's a lot to look at today. Affirm is a dang rocket ship to the high side right now. A little bit off the highs. It almost printed 63. Now we're down, I believe, like, let me just double check because the thing doesn't update. Over here, where are we at? We're at 62.51, so not bad. We're still very much near highs at the moment. MULN holding up as well above the volume weighted average price. Mullen got shellacked last week after having a good day on the 12th. That had a big boy day on the 12th. If I'm looking there, yeah, it was like 160% in the clear back on the 12th. Consolidative gave back a lot of it on Friday. Now we're kind of an inside day ensconced between the highs and lows of Friday's price action. So MULN also on watch for me over here, talking about my small cap gapper trades, obviously. And then the monster F cell, and I say that obviously sarcastic. I don't know how many times this stock reverse split to comply with the NASDAQ. In any event, they got also shellacked on Friday. A big move there off that 9.5 all the way down, all the way to 586. Ouch, that's no good. We're bouncing a bit back today. We closed out a bit above $6 on Friday, 6.15 or so is what I'm seeing there on the chart. And today we're knocking on the door of that $8 area. So looking good here for FCEL, a light 29% day. So we're going to keep an eye out on that one. I didn't see a catalyst for FCEL, by the way, so unsure what's going on. HCWB halted to the downside, yet it's still above the 10 exponential. And there it is. It is now open on HCWB. I like it. Above VWAP, it's going to have to hold that 110 area. But if I look at this ex post facto, look how well this has respected the 10 exponential. So it was no coincidence, in my humble opinion, that it closed a little bit above the 10 exponential there and is, in fact, holding it right now at $1.35. May not be forever, but we'll keep an eye out on this one. Then I'm also looking at JWEL. Another small cap gapper, a bit stronger, this one, 50% in the clear, but another one that's respecting the 10. I mean, look at this. Even going back to the pre-market here, even though it's a little lightly traded, every single closing print above the 10 exponential. But I'm going to submit to you, this one is, it's got a wide range per candle. So when they has this kind of wide range per candle, you're going to have to account for that in your stop placement and in your beak wetting placement, because you know, getting in at $3 and putting a stop at 285 just means nothing to this name. You're likely going to get stopped out. So JWEL in focus. AFRM I already talked about. CNVS, another one that's looking really good because of how the chart pattern is, but the volume is dropping off. So there's always that concern. Up 20% above VWAP. It's got a bull flag pennant shape that it's manifesting right now. Whether or not it continues or gives up the ghost, time will tell. But we're going to keep these bad boys on the side chart to see exactly if we can weasel into them. We're still involved in APLD. It's holding VWAP. It's got a 3-candle hold up here at the volume weighted average price. But look what's operative. The lower highs and the lower low. I can see all the white lines and the whole dollars that I want. But if it doesn't print a new high, then there's no change in trend and I'm going to get stopped out. So we're going to keep an eye here on APLD. But very interested in a lot of these other names, Joseph.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. And I'm just going to give a quick shout out to, I seen my cousin in the chat, so shout out to him. And then Dan, who says, Joe, you're trading ETFs. Little did I know that this was my friend, one of my original trading buddies. So Dan, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. He was part of our group with Greg and stuff like that. So, and he put on a monster trade today. He showed me, coincidentally, he showed me. So Dan, good trade on PLTR short there, my friend. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. It's glad to see you guys. It's always nice seeing and having conversation with you guys because especially we started this journey kind of as a group together and now we're at this point. So Dan, thank you. That and Andre, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate that, guys. Thanks for showing the love. But Sharif, what we're in right now is some IBIT. I'm just trying to stick to what's strong, right? So I said I'm looking for this thing to pull back. We have this little bit of an indecision candle here on this pullback as the volume was falling off on IBIT. On the pullback, that can insinuate, hey, are we going to try and test the highs and then possibly make another leg higher? So I was just waiting for a specific turnaround signal in order for me to get into this trade. So once the momentum to the downside started to cool off, and then you can see that price was slowly starting to turn around, that's when I decided that I was going to take an entry here on IBIT. Am I going to be 100% right on this one? I'm still not too sure. Even though we are slightly in the money, not much, but I do have a definitive out here at 52.22s. So if we hold this, I will hold until it breaks. But other than that, I'm going to assume that we are possibly going to take another leg higher or going possibly test the high of day. But we're off to Sharif.
Donald J. Trump, during his first presidency, emphasized that a strong America must not depend on foreign adversaries for critical minerals essential to our nation's economic and military strength in the 21st century. Aligning this vision, Military Metals is emerging as a global powerhouse in the antimony space, crucial for defense and military applications. With past producing assets in the U.S., Canada, and Europe, Military Metals is poised to secure these vital resources domestically. So don't wait too long. This story is heating up fast. Shout out to the good folks there at Military Metals. That's an interesting one right there, man, because you and I have talked about it on this show. The world is rearming, whether we like it or not. We hear about Japan rearming, Germany's rearming, two countries Greece, bro. Everybody seems to be rearming a little bit. Even Canada. Canada's buying more airplanes.
Hey.
Right? We only. Oh, your
Oh, jeez, wow.
Your mic is gone there.
Oh, it's gone.
What happened? But it's okay. It's fine. I like it.
Don't you say that?
All the time. That's why I was pumped about that.
There you go. There you go. And we're back.
So I got stopped out of my first trade here super quick on AFRM. I'm still interested in getting back in. So we got in. We lost 20 pennies quickly, just like that, on AFRM, but this is a level I like. Now, I have to account for the spread, obviously, but that $62 level is the 10 exponential moving average on the 5 that I like. I love getting in at that level. And if you've watched me trade these names before or these trending names, you know how much I like pulls or retracements into the 10 exponential only to hold up there. So I got stopped out initially. I'm going to look to do a little bit better. Now I'm going to wait to confirm, does the subsequent candle that forms, and this candle closes in about 30 seconds or 1 minute, do we hold above 62? If we do, I can get back in. I can definitely fight my way back into that one. AFRM, I want to ride the wave on this bad boy because it's a strong name. In case you're wondering what's going on with AFRM on the day, it looks like they got yet another contract, this time with Priceline. I think Priceline, don't they do vacations, guys? Yeah, They do vacations. So it's another. So now you can buy now, pay never on your vacays too. So I think, I'm just kidding. Of course, buy now, pay never, right? Shout out to Ray. She's pumped about that. Okay, Ray.
Buy now, pay ever, right?
No, but seriously though. So another thing that you can obviously finance and, it's a lot better rates than you get with credit cards. And I was telling you, I gave you guys this anecdotal note last week or the week before when I was buying my iPad. Affirm was offering monthly payments, and now they do charge interest. But when you compare it to your credit card interest rate or the average credit card interest rate, much, much, much better. So we'll see exactly how the market digest this, but on the day, obviously 10 to 3 ain't no joke. So I'm going to look to get back in here. I'm still waiting to see what this candle does. We opened up a new 5-minute candle on AFRM, so I'd like to weasel in here if I could and see what the situation is. Back to the trade that I've got right now, we're 811. This thing's printing 812s. It looks like it worked to 815 here on APLD. I'm waiting at 820, so I'd rather get stopped out than take any profits out early. So we'll pack our patience on these names. I'm keeping my eye, obviously, on the small cap gappers and the Mag 7 today because they're in play. AAPL is a dang rocket ship today. Can't disparage this one and call it the dead one. Not today. 1 4/5, by the way. And I've already got my order out. I told you guys 230, I'd be taking a fifth off. That's 20% of the position I will be taking out if it ascends another 80 pennies. In fact, I put it in 229s, high 229s. So it doesn't even have to hit 230s on the dot. I will wet my beak on some profits on AAPL in the personal account if it does work its way into that level. Meta also strong, Joseph, near high a day, 559 right now. So good look for META and NVIDIA. Look, it got shellacked on the day, but this double bottom looking real good. And here's the neckline break at 140 break and take. Now we're printing 141.25, and we're at the high of the day, and we're almost green, bro. We cross another 75 pennies. We go green on this. 142 is the line in the sand today between green and red on the Monster NVIDIA. In case you're just joining us, an issue with the Blackwell GPUs strung together in the servers is causing these bad boys to heat up, and the market didn't like that today. So a bit of a sell-off, but probably another opportunity to buy this.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know
I think this is definitely a stock that you look at any dip, especially when it gaps down. You just look to buy this thing, right? Because it's absolutely phenomenal. The valuations are still fair. So, I mean, it's going to continue to go. And I think just coming up soon, when we have the report coming up on Wednesday or Tuesday, I believe it is. So just keep an eye out for that, guys. I mean, if you're already in the money, then by all means continue to hold on to that position, even if it decides that it wants to sell or the street perceives that, hey, we didn't like the report as much as we thought we were going to. Just look to get in on it because the demand for these chips are absolutely through the roof. But yeah, Kendall, you're not wrong on Tesla. We're now pulling back through VWAP. I mean, the volume started to pick up on the pullback here. We did roll over. I was expecting Tesla to try and hold VWAP, considering the overall market is strong. The Qs are still holding this level, so I'm assuming that NVDA is holding everything up here at this point. And I haven't looked at AMD too much, Elon, because I know you're a big AMD person. I just typed in Elon on the thing. Hello. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, we're still holding on AMD, holding these highs here, sitting up about 3.7% on the session. I want to touch on Amazon as well, too, because we were talking about some consumer discretionary, and Sharif and I were like, hey, what is going on with this thing? Like, everything else is trending, but Amazon decided to have its own little consolidation party and not really do much, kind of breaking some lows here. So maybe a little bit of a flat bottom break there. I'm gonna, guys, I'll have my gaps marked out here. So once it comes time, I'll look to play that gap on that as well too. So keep an eye on that. Guys, we're still holding on to this Bitcoin. I think the asset is strong. I think we consolidate and then we potentially make another leg up there. So we'll take a look at that. Joe, thoughts on CVNA? Yeah, sure. Let's take a look here at CVNA. And see what's going on with that. Carvana. Yeah, from an intraday standpoint, it's not the most liquid thing as we can see here. From a daily standpoint, this stock has been trending higher. I remember trading this thing a couple years ago, and I think they were going bankrupt. And what an absolute recovery on CVNA, because they're trending higher, and it looks like these guys are becoming and turning into a pretty good investment. We don't have Carvana here, but I think the way that they operate there, it's like a vending machine, a massive vending machine. You see these cars and these towers in the States, which is pretty cool. We don't have them here or anything like that, but when you see them, I like the look of them. And I guess there's more than just look. The fundamentals are supporting the company as well, too. So that's where you can see this drastic increase in price. So, yeah, I mean, this is kind of what you want to see. You have these big moves up. You're failing to make any new lows, and you're consolidating. You're forming this solid range here. And that's something that you always want to keep an eye out for. Here, we'll mark some levels out here for you guys. When you see these areas kind of just consolidating and you have this primary uptrend and you're forming these bases, look for the continuation. You may get a little liquidity grab, like a break through the levels, but then I think the primary trend is going to still continue to that northeast trajectory, so keep that in mind. Carvana is a really good look. It's getting really expensive, and I guess after a couple of years of recovering, then that's what happens when you're starting to run a really, really good business. So that's the good look on Carvana there. I was going to look at something else, and I'm going to bring something else for you guys, but we'll send it up to Sharif.
Yes, sir. So we're involved right now in 3 names. I'm caught in an up halt right now on HCWB. We're halted at 63. I'm in at 53. I've wet my beak on a couple of outs. I've also layered a couple of outs. This has been a multiple halter on the day. HCWB. It's up a light, guys, not up that much. 453%. It's done 356 million shares traded on the day. And here the details are as follows. $61 million market cap with this latest 453% pump. And the float is a light 18 million shares. That's not that big or that small. It's kind of just right there for the small cap gappers. Let's find, it's a Goldilocks of floats. Okay, I like that. 0.4% of the float is shorted, so negligible short float there, nothing to really talk about. So we'll pack our patience on that one, wait for this one to unhalt, currently halted to the upside at 63s. Now, I'm involved in this one as well, APLD. I've been waiting for a hot minute to wet my beak at 20s, but it's, you know, rounding off the volume weighted average price. It's everything that I want to see, showing me 20s now on the ask. It's got a cross for me to print. You guys know that. It's got to, because the 19's on the bid, 20 on the ask. We're going to pack our patience here. Where are we in? We're in at 11. So if we print here, that'd be nice. Come on, bro. Print me, man. You know I've been waiting. You know I'm in first in priority. Come on now. So we'll wait for that one to see if we get the print. APLD up a light, though. This one's actually a light up on the day, 9 or 13 and a 5%. There we go. We just got the first print there. Looking for the next print at this consolidation area low at 830. In fact, I don't like that. I don't like putting it at the hole, the hole, not the hole, but like on the 10th, like 830, 840. I'm going to put it a little bit below to account for any possible resistance that could be hanging out there. So APLD will hopefully do a little bit better on that one. Still waiting for HCWB to open. And then this one is just not working out over here. So I'm going to have to stop out of AFRM. I've been fighting with this one. Look, it's showing me what I want to see on the 5. In the sense that it's giving me doji candles, these candles of indecision, so that I know for certain that there's a tug of war happening between buyers and sellers. But I'm getting cut up. I'm getting cut up on it right now. So where am I? I'm 05s. What are we printing? We're printing 98s, but this is my second attempt on it. So I'm going to have to do a little bit better here. Otherwise, I'm just going to turn my back on this one. I'm looking for a 62 dip and hold right now, which also, again, accounts for the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. It's gonna have to hold up there. Otherwise, I want zero smoke with AFRM, given the volatility in the price. I can't be trading this like a small cap gapper. It's not a small cap gapper. So we'll pack our patience here, Joe, as it looks like we're ascending here to 15s. Where am I waiting? I'm waiting at 25s, lucky number 25. So we'll see if we get the print there. FCEL, guys, this one is breaking into the high of the day, so you can't trade them all. FCEL, $8.16 HOD. This monster opened up at $6.16, so we're $2 already higher on an $8 name. And again, I want to remind you, this one got shellacked on Wednesday. It actually started off the day well. Look at this, started off at 7-ish, weaseled into 9.5, and then just got pounded the rest of the day, coming all the way down into that 588. So FCEL, a pandemic darling. At least I was trading it during the pandemic. This thing was like $30, man. And it's reverse split to get back above $1. I don't mean to laugh, but you know, some of these pandemic names they just remind me of fun times. We're moving here on a firm, Joseph. Okay, so we just got the print there finally on this monster. So we'll look to wet our beak here. We're about 35 pennies in the money on the monster firm. I'm setting up at 39s. What are you looking at, my man?
Yeah, I'm just here holding on to IBIT. We took a little bit more off the top there, Sharif, a little trim, which I like, and I said it. I think we're going to continue, and we're going to try to make a push for that second leg higher, and that seems to be the case. We had this consolidation zone right here, a little bit of holding of these levels, and then we got a little bit of a push up there, a big topside move. So we take a little more profits up in there. But I just want to talk about some options positions that I got cooking up for the week, guys, and that's going to be some bull puts on Apple. I liked Apple. I don't think I'm going to get a fill on this quite yet because I wasn't expecting it to run how it did in the pre-market. But as you can see, expiring next week, they didn't pay a hefty amount, but it's more of a safe trade just to collect a little bit of that passive income. It was the 215, or it was the 220s, 215s that paid about $13 a contract earlier on the weekend. But again, that's old quotes. So they're not paying as much now, but I'm going to wait for that pullback. If the market does decide to pull back, I will get a fill at that price that I would like. So those orders are set, but that's just keep in mind, guys, that's something that I have setting up for a potential bull put spread here on that. So it is a credit-based trade, and we're going to hold these bases. So again, for those who aren't familiar with credit-based trades, it's not necessarily a directional bias trade. All you are looking for is price to not depreciate below said price, so 220 being my short strike, so keep that in mind. I think Apple can do whatever it wants in this little choppy zone that it's been in for a pretty while now, since the middle of the summer after it made this high in mid-July. It hasn't really done much. It's done a lot of fake outs, grabbed a lot of liquidity, making moves up here, but just kind of consolidating, chopping up in this zone for the better part of a couple months there. So keep that in mind, but I do believe in this stock, so I am going to put a bull put spread on this one, so keep that in mind. We'll see if we get some feels on that. It is moving to the top side, so we'll have to be a little bit patient. Those are GTCs, so I will wait until I either get filled or I don't. And then another one here is on something that we were talking about is Amazon as well too. I'm gonna look to do the same thing. We're gonna go BPS on this one. But again, I have a definitive out here around 197. I want to see if we can hold this pivot, guys. You know what I'm going to point out on this one is that we have this this isolated volume signature with that doji candle to see if we can hold. If it doesn't decide that it wants to hold those levels, that's totally fine. Credit-based trade, give ourselves a little bit of room. A week and a half out until expire, a week or 2 weeks, sorry, I guess next Friday. And then we'll see what happens with that. So we'll probably get a fill on this one as well too, guys. So keep that in mind. Those are my two looks for just a little passive income on the weekend. For the week and just have a little position and just to get my beak wet in some options because I love the spreads, man. I've always loved the spreads. It's something that I was attracted to coming into trading. So again, we did a lesson on those, so you guys can go back and look at that if you guys are interested in creating a little bit of a passive income for you on that front. But here, I'm gonna get out of IBIT here, guys, at my break even. It's coming back. So I took a little bit longer to get past the break even, but that's fine. I do think we might be able to get a better price here because when this thing wants to move in any specific direction, it moves with some force. And guys, the overall market was taking a whole nother leg up. And I'm like, what is driving this thing? So it would be backed by Apple and Meta. So Meta was absolutely crawling to the top side and continuing to do so. And a Dara favorite is just, putting in a pretty solid day. I mean, it was chopping up around a little bit of toppiness up here on Meta. But again, here recovering, holding these lows, and then putting up in a 1% day. But as you can see, some nice, strong bullish candles here at the break of the volume weighted average price on Meta. And then just slowly starting to grind higher, higher, and higher. So just squeezing some people out there maybe on that one. But again, a nice slow grind on Meta and Apple driving the market higher and higher. What do you got going on, my guy?
We just took it out here, Joe, on HCWB, 20-penny winner on a dollar name. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. So we got in over here on the break near the high of the day with the beak, and I just took it out there at $0.75. Look, I'm gonna look to get back in here on HCWB, but you guys know how I feel about these small cap gappers getting too extended away from the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. I use it as an informal gauge of overbought and oversold conditions for these small cap gappers. I do not do that for large cap, mega cap, anything other than small cap gapper trades, okay? So when you get a little bit too far away from the 10 exponential, I look for a bit of a mean reversion and possibly maybe getting it on the 10, the 20, or even VWAP here, or if there's a really good technical area of price action, support or resistance, I'll look there too. It's flying though, bro. 183, I just took it out at 175. I thought it was a halt candidate at 180. My math was off. In any event, it's gonna halt here. It looks like at $1.83. It's been a halt fest on this one, but been very predictable in the retracements because it's been awfully respectful again of the 10. So nothing to disparage this one about. The other one I'm involved in, APLD, I just wet my beak at 20s. I've moved down my my next profit taker from 30s, like I mentioned, into 28s. And I'm doing these here on a firm, man. We're 55 pennies in the money on this monster, looking for that break and take of 50. I'm getting a little bit aggressive here with where I want to take profits, even though I know that the 50 penny area, likely an area of psychological support given that it's midday, and it looks like we're having issues right now on a 4-candle basis with that $0.50. So we're, it's rejecting now. So that's fine. I've already taken out a good chunk of the position. I'm still negative, full disclosure on Affirm because it stopped me out initially, but we're going to look to get positive on it and exact that revenge. I'd like to see a break and take, obviously, of the high of day in and around 63, 62.88 is where we're currently trending at on the day. So AFRM in focus. We'll see what we can do there. Now, APLD, back to this one. So here's what I'm seeing on the 5. You guys let me know how you feel about this. So this is a big move up, right? 8.5, let's say 8.5 rejection. It's technically an 8.45. We come back and we show our propensity to respect the volume weighted average price. You have a 15-minute hold up, 3 5-minute candles, none of which breaches VWAP. Then we make our way right back up again. However, it's this kind of consolidation pattern that happens subsequent to the VWAP holdup, which always has me worried. Is this just the beginning of a lower high and a move down in a VWAP for an eventual boom? Or am I just being a little bit too bearish and this is actually a move possibly back up? I don't like seeing these consolidative looks after a holdup at VWAP. I don't like that because then I'm feeling we're creating an area crest. And the confirmation of that obviously will be candles to make lower highs and lower lows subsequent to whatever previous candle you're looking at. So I'm kind of concerned right now on my APLD, thinking maybe I should be weaseling some more out here because this could easily find its way right back into 803, 802, wherever the hell VWAP is right now. So APLD got my attention and not in a good way. I'm thinking maybe I should be weaseling out a little bit over here on this name. Let's weasel back. Sorry, that's a lot of weaseling here. I'm sorry about that. Let's go back to Affirm, see what we're doing over here at this 8 1/3. Still waiting for that break and take of the $0.50. It's eluding me right now. Joseph, what are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm over here actually looking at PLTR on one of my secondary screens here. I didn't take too much of a look at it, but then I was just looking at my high volume scanner here, sitting in second place here with 90.3 million shares traded on the session. So I'm like, let me take a look at this thing. It's been one of the hottest stocks in the market. No questions asked there. Down about 5.7% on the session, which is totally fine. And I'm not too sure when they convert over to the NAS, but I think it's relatively soon. So expect this thing to continue higher. I said to Sharif the other day, or last week, I'm like, dude, at some point, this thing is going to have $100. It's going to be a triple-digit stock, I think. It's only a matter of time, probably at some point next year. AMD next target, 150. Elon, nice. Yeah, good luck there. I mean, yeah. We'll talk some AMD later, but one thing I do want to talk about that you pointed out as well, Elon, right after I just finished up on PLTR here, is that we're going to see what happens. I do think this stock can, PLTR that is, can somewhat recover on the day. It is slowly curling over, but I don't expect it to close kind of at the lows or anything just because of how strong the stock is, but it is also slightly toppy, so subjective stuff there. Something that I'm not really going to be trading today. There's other things that are hot and moving to the northeast that I'll keep an eye on. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. PLTR down 5.8% on the session, putting in a little bit of a red day. But Elon, you said Boeing is putting in some potential bottoming, or has reached that trough and put in some potential bottoming signals. Well, you didn't say that, but you said the trough. The one thing that I'm going to point out with this thing is that I'm not seeing anything saying that the volume is stopping or the downward momentum is stopping. I want to see some big volume stepping in, and then that way that can potentially indicate that, hey, We're looking to turn around on this thing. But I think it's going to take a little while for Boeing to get their ship together and start flying to the northeast area.
That was good. Ship and flying.
Yeah. You know what?
Dropping puns there,
no,
bro.
Obi had the best one that I don't think anybody caught on this morning. Maybe I may be wrong, but he said Tesla is driving itself higher. Did you hear that one? I heard it. I'm like, oh wow,
like
that was a really good one. Yeah. So yeah, it was a good catch. Don't think that didn't go unwatched. So that was a good one there,
Joseph,
Obi.
if you got a question, I want to put it to you.
Yeah.
Jacoby Waters in the chat. It's a really good question, Jacoby. So I'm up 200% on a Netflix call option with an 8-day expiration. And I also have multiple contracts. Where would you wet your beak? Where the hell is it? There. Wet your beak, asking me and you, but it's obviously you here because you're the options guy.
Yeah. I mean, good look on those. I think I seen something. He had something that he bought some out the money calls and then they appreciated. So yeah, really good look on that. You are kind of reaching the expiration on those. I believe if you had 1122s, so just be wary. You caught a lot of extrinsic value, but there's no intrinsic value. So theta's going to pick up really, really quick on those. So look to lock in some profits on that as well too. But as for Netflix, I think this is a stock that a lot of people want to get into, but it's just too expensive right now. Right now, Netflix is too expensive. I think they're going to look for that split. I think a lot of people were looking for that split last quarter, but I think the stock's going to have to appreciate a little bit more. Usually around that $1,000 mark is when people start to look at those splits. Or what, I'm not sure. I don't want to be talking too much noise I don't know about, but I think I'm not going to look to get into Netflix until that split comes because it is slightly expensive. But I mean, we had that big event over the weekend, just an insane amount of viewership. So if they can continue to put on sporting events like that, all that's going to do is just raise literally that stock's value year over year, month over month, especially if they have the ability to put on these big fights. You got these big names, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, putting on these massive fights, and it's just attracting more viewers. So that's a good look there. Maybe if you have multiple contracts, look to trim a little bit, lock in some of those profits, and then you can hold some if you want closer to expiration. But just keep in mind, if I was right, I seen that you had out the money calls or on something. So just look to lock in some of that extrinsic value, right? Because you're not intrinsically valuable. So that's just my look on that one. Yeah.
So we've got a big drop here, Joe. Well, not a big drop, but we sold off a little bit, almost 70 points. I was talking to OG Darwin in the chat. He's like, look, there's some belligerencies now. Looks like stuff in the Ukraine and stuff in the Middle East happening again. So we're going to get a little bit of volatility today. Separately, obviously, we know the Biden administration authorized the use of different types of missiles into Russia. That could cause more belligerencies now. So let's get ready for that, okay? So we have to be ready for that. Obviously, it's not like nothing, this is not new to us. We've been, all of us who have been trading have been dealing with the Middle East and Eastern European stuff for a hot minute. But just to let you know, it's back in focus more so today. So the market taking a bit of a hit here, 20,724 is the high of the day. Now we're dropping here decidedly on the NQ December contract, moving into 20,650. So a nice little drop there, almost 75 points, quick as you like. And we're still bleeding. The bleeding is still going on right now. I was looking for that 650 possible area hold. Not much in terms of support there, but was looking at this earlier area crest from earlier in the trading day. I'm talking about that 3 a.m., 4 a.m. kind of area crest, but obviously that is the overnight action and there's less volume there. Therefore, less weight should be placed on it as a level of support. We're really bleeding. Right now, we're still printing the lows on the futures. Had all the Mag 7 names take a turn south, some more than others. Case in point, you've got the Amazonian at the day low, 202.25 right now. You don't have day low on too many others. So there isn't too much weakness in the Mag 7 at the moment. You get Microsoft at VWAP. Google's going along its merry way, trying to hold up the 10 exponential, and Apple also at the 20 exponential. The likes of Tesla, though, straddling VWAP from the south side, not the north side. So VWAP acting as a bit of a resistance level right now for TSLA in and around that 343.5 area. It's down now into 341, a little bit below 341. So TSLA also taking a bit of a downturn there, a nice round at top. The monster NVIDIA at the 20 exponential, but still above the volume weighted average price, and it could be possible support for NVIDIA. Look at this consolidation zone that we really took our time putting in the pre-market and even after the bell. This 139.5, 1 to 140 area, there seems to be a whole lot of chop and churn in and around there. Could that be a support level for NVDA? You're not going to catch me putting resting orders in that level, but I'm definitely keeping my eye here to see whether the Mag 7 can be in play with this nice little retracement that we got in the NQ, now up 0.4%. What's my position doing? I'm about to get stopped at APLD for the last remaining amount as it comes into the volume weighted average price. Keeping my eye on this one, Joe. Not even the small cap gappers are getting spared from this market sell-off as we come down to $8. My stop's a little bit below that. What are you looking at, my man?
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the overall market here, Sharif. I'm glad that you pointed it out because one thing that I wanted to point out here is that, as you can see, we're slightly extended. I would like to have seen some more healthy pullbacks within this move to the top side here. Again, you can take that leg up, but then you want to see something healthy, a small pullback on lower volume, and then you go to take those second or third legs higher. And sure enough, we were slightly toppy here. We had Meta and Apple just trading absolutely phenomenal on the session. But then again, we got a little toppy and we needed to breathe. The market needs to breathe. So now that we're pulling back, you can see the volume by time profile is starting to pick up as we go to move to that southeast, in that southeast direction, all right? So just keep that in mind. When you see something as toppy as that, and I was actually going to mention that before I sent it to Sharif, but I said watch out for a potential pullback here just because of the price action and how potentially toppy we are without a specific a deep pullback or any breath within the market. It was more of a just consolidation phase, and then we kind of took that extended leg higher. So just keep that in mind. I don't know if we're going to hold VWAP here, especially because I know Tesla breached and is now trading, I think, still below it. But just keep in mind, when you see the market that extended and the volume isn't staying kind of having a normal level of volume or accelerating, just keep in mind if it's starting to dwindle off, then just be prepared that you might get caught in one of those pullbacks. So yeah, Jesse, I don't remember what's wrong with Amazon. What do I mean? Oh yeah, I mean it's just not in sync with the overall market, right? We'll just pull back. As you can see from, I mentioned earlier, consumer discretionary was kind of leading the sectors. But what happened here is that it wasn't participating with the market movement, right? So it's an outlier. It wasn't trading in tandem with the overall market as the mega caps tend to do when the overall market is trading higher. Everybody's kind of moving in sync, and Amazon was an outlier. It was consolidating. It wasn't making highs like some of the other bigger names, Apple, Meta, and NVDA, as I mentioned before, and it decided that it wants to sell off. So there's nothing wrong with Amazon. It's just the market and Wall Street wasn't looking to trade or appreciate the price on this underlying asset, Amazon, that is. So there's nothing wrong with the stock. I was just pointing out the fact that it's not in sync with the overall market. So just keep that in mind there as well too, guys. So Amazon, a good look. I think for the long term, that's an absolute buy, especially if you can get any good, solid dip on that one. That's something that I think we were mentioning. Like that's something that I wish I had in the long-term portfolio, and I never took advantage of it, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I think Amazon was one of the second options that I ever bought as a flat-out call. Yeah. I remember a while ago, and then like the next day it popped up like my options contract appreciated 50%, and then I sold right away because I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And sure enough, it went up to like 200% or something like that. So pennies on the dollar on that one, guys. But yeah, we're just still holding here some IBIT. I like this entry a little bit more here around VWAP. We're going to continue to hold. If we break this low below VWAP, then I'm going to get out of the trade. The overall market is starting to pull back a little bit here. Apple is pulling back as well too. So keep that in mind, guys. Wait for these pullbacks. We are kind of getting close to the lunchtime hour. So wait for an entry from that standpoint.
Absolutely, and with respect to some of these small cap gappers, halted again, Joseph, to the upside. HCWB this time halted about 5 pennies higher than the initial up halt. Last time we were in it at 183, now halted at 188, but that wasn't before it down halted again. So we talked about this before with these ones that halt to no end, to be very specific about how they're trending. Even though they're halting, are they still respecting the 10? Are they still respecting the 20 or VWAP or whatever you're charting off? Because sometimes you get so fixated on looking at the halts and worrying about, can I get in, get out, that you forego analysis of the actual trend. At least I've been guilty of that in the past. And look at this. Despite the fact that it's halted multiple times, it's been very respectful of that 10 exponential moving average with no closing print below it since, wow. Not even over, oh, this one, 950. You got to go back to 950 on your 5-minute chart to get a closing print below the 10. There's been wicks, but they've been very shallow and very brief. So up halted, 188 again. It's time to give this one a little bit of respect. We're going to have to do some charting to see where we could expect resistance. And look at this. This one awoke from the dead today, baby. It was trading at 29 pennies. It's now knocking the door at $2. So what's the look here? Well, look at this area crest that we put in April of this year. We weaseled up just south of $2. So this 195 to 2, we already know is a level of resistance, no doubt about that. But we've already taken out key areas. Let's talk about that. That $1, we blew through that, and then there was another area crest over here, back from June at $1.25. That's gone. And look how long this consolidation area is on the daily at $1.80. That's also gone. So we're looking at 2, and if we really get going here, we're looking at that 2 1/3. That one had a long, consolidation period from all the way from June of 23 till really gave up the ghost there in September. So it's a long little consolidation period at 2 1/3. So this one could get going, but it does have incremental areas of resistance along the way. But so far, so good, baby. It's taken them all out and quite handily too. So HCWB in focus right now, looking to do some good stuff on this one once it reopens. Halted right now. So, I traded a firm badly, quite frankly. Like, look, it's right back up at that 6.5 again. And what it's done is put in higher lows subsequent to that. Sometimes you put on your moving average glasses, or you're fixated on like a level and you forego the actual, or you don't recognize the actual trend. And look at this, it's putting in higher lows. So I should have been giving this one more room, especially if the trend was telling me, look, dude, the buyers are incrementally buying me at higher and higher levels on every successive trough. So I didn't see that. That was my mistake. It looks like it's defending 62 now. What I'd like to do is I might get a resting order in and around 62 to play this range, with the ultimate idea that we take out that high of the day at 88. So this one's been trending awfully strong today with another catalyst with price line. So I'm going to keep my eye out on a firm look to exact some revenge on this bad boy. It's continuing to put in those higher highs and higher lows. APLD still involved in this one right now. We've taken out the majority of the position on APLD, but waiting here to see whether or not that $8 area, which also happens to be VWAP, wants to break and take, or this is going to be an 8 defend and a double bottom through that 8 1/5. So I'm going to keep involved in this one so long as it's defending the volume weighted average price, and so long as I see these candles being bought up aggressively on every successive move down into $8. I feel a little bit better there that there is a buyer at $8, but is there enough buying to take me up above that fifth of a dollar? That's the question there. Connie Spurlock, yes, we've been talking about FCEL. It's moving up big boy, and your point is absolutely taken. 32 2/3 right now is FCEL. Again, there's no catalyst for this one on the day, or let me just double check that to make sure that I'm not wrong on that. No, nothing from today for FCEL, RAM, but despite that, it's still up on the day. But again, I want to mention to you, Connie, that this one got shellacked. It started off really well on Friday. It had a good day on Thursday as well. Continued that in the pre-market on Friday. But look what we did. We're at 10 o'clock. We moved up to 9.5, and then we got really, really bad. We moved up. We dropped almost 38.5% that day from top to bottom, not on the day. We just barely kind of closed at break even from the prior day, but nice move up here. This could be a nice little rounded bottom if you include those 2 days together. So $8 right now being defended by FSL Joseph.
Yeah, beautiful look there, Sharif as well. So I'm just looking at PLTR here. I mentioned it earlier from a volume standpoint. It's up there in the top volume gainers of the session. And it's starting to work out. Someone else in the chat mentioned, sir, I'm not going to try to botch your name or anything like that, but he said, hey, yeah, I think PLTR recovers at some point today. And I strongly agree. And as I was looking at it, you mentioned that. So that's why I decided to take a little bit of a starter position on it. I have a definitive out here. The RVR is going to be a little bit tougher because we do have an out at VWAP around 61.5s I'll hold to. So I do got to hold this for a little bit longer and for a little bit more of a gain in this instance. But just keep in mind, one thing I don't like, guys, is that this volume by time profile is slowly dwindling off the momentum. That opening drive momentum is now waved out. So just keep in mind might be a little bit more of a slow burn in this one, but I do like it for a little bit of a recovery on a session that it's down about 5.2%. About 5.25% on the session. So I do expect a little bit of a recovery on it. I have a definitive out. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, I'm not going to cry about it or anything like that. But I do like PLTR, and I do want to participate in some of its strength there. So that's my look there on PLTR. We'll hold on to this until about 61.5s, and if it breaks, then we're going to get out of that as well, too. But, guys, we're still holding on to IBIT. I'll pull that up for you guys as well, too. We took that second trade here. We had a good one here as I was anticipating kind of that move higher, but again, it wanted to pull back a little deeper, test the volume weighted average price. So let's see if we can get some more buyers to step in here shortly and then potentially just continue to push this stock and we grind higher and higher and higher. If not, we break VWAP, I'm out of the trade, and then I'm looking for something else. Some people in the chat are saying NVDA with some obscenities behind that. So I
don't know why. It's just moving down a little bit.
Yeah, it's just pulling back a little bit, guys. Still down about 1.5% on the session. So it's not too horrible. And I mentioned this time and time again, guys. I think in order for this market to continue to grind higher, we're going to need NVDA to start trading a little bit more orderly and start participating in these moves. Other than that, I think it's going to be a little bit more of a messy grind, which is unfortunate. But again, still down 1.6% on the session. Not as strong as its counterpart, AMD, which is up about 3.25 on the session, now hovering around VWAP, which is totally fine. I still think the sentiment on this stock is overall weak. And Sharif was telling me off screen here that, hey, Taiwan Semi is just looking to create more fabs and more factories, so more factories to produce chips. And so, I mean, by all means, if that means they can produce more, then more chips will be made and then able to meet AMD's demands. So, yeah.
This, Joe. Japan, construction of a second fab, Joe, in Kumamoto, starting in 2025. United States, you got 2 wafer fabs under construction in Arizona with a nice $6.6 billion in government money to a non-U.S. company, by the way, just throwing that out there. Germany, you got a specialized process facility being built out in Dresden. Man, did you ever hear about the horror stories in Dresden?
No.
In World War II, they're using like napalm. They burned the entire city, Joe.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the only reason I remember that name. Because, well, good thing that it's a different look for it now. Dresden, a facility under construction there. So they're building these facilities out. And when I was telling Joe off camera, I was like, well, we always complain AMD can't get their hands on any chips because NVIDIA usurping all of Taiwan Semi's chips and their capacity. Well, that's going to change, because Taiwan Semi is building out a storm here, so the capacity is going to increase big. But we'll have to wait and see whether or not that's going to be soon enough for the build out that wants to be built out. Yeah, the build out that wants to be built out. So right now, HCWB RAM halted to the high side again at $2.02. This thing is flying out, man. We got out at 175, seeming like a very bad trade since that time. So, I'm going to look to get back into this because it's just not dropping right now. So we're going to look to weasel our way back into HCWB if we can with that $2. There it is now halted to the high, open to the high side, opened up now at 220. This one's really going 670% now.
Wow.
It's likely going to halt again, Joe, at 228. This thing's flying. Let's see if we can get in some small shares over here. No, it's not going to let us in, so that's fine. That's all right. So we'll have to wait there for the next little dip down. Halted, upside, $2.27. It opened up at, it halted last time at 202, and it closed now at 227. So the halt level, $2.27. A monster move for HCWB. I'm still involved in APLD with a little amount here. I don't think this is the right move at all, so I'm going to flatten out. I took out some of the position. This is exactly what I thought it would be, a flat bottom break when it kind of moved up, came back in, tested that low. Should have stuck with my gut there, so we're out of that one. We'll look to do a little bit better. Not much going on in my world right now, though. I'm looking at the side chart here for things I can get into. I don't really like the look of anything, so we're going to flip to some Mag 7. And see what the look is on the Mag 7. Anything holding up here? I was eyeing a possible Microsoft entry, Joe.
Oh, okay.
The only reason I was looking at that because it was doing these bottoming tail kind of doji candles at VWAP, but now this candle throws a wrench in my analysis, closes decidedly below VWAP. Look, if this wants to curl and take out 416 again, I could be persuaded, but it's not the look I'm going for. I was looking at it because of these candles over here, not these two. So I'm going to leave Microsoft alone now that I have another look at it. So yeah, I guess maybe NVIDIA coming into VWAP a little bit over here. I don't really want to base anything on VWAP for NVIDIA because there's really not been too much respect by NVIDIA for VWAP, breaking through it, breaking below it. So we'll see if that changes. 139.25 is where VWAP is. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red candle pattern now on the 5-minute chart with that 141.25 acting as resistance with topping tail candles preceding that big move down. So NVDA certainly in watch. It's always on watch, but it's going to have to set up in the right way. Yeah, I don't have anything, quite frankly. Not small cap gappers, not in the Mag 7 except HCWB, Joe. I don't have to wait for this one to open up.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, it's just one of those sessions when we were just so strong out of the opening drives. Now we're starting to take that breath. Now we're looking to take that breath. But guys,
there it is. There it is.
Come on.
You got to vote for your favorite takers, baby.
Exclamation point. Join. Number sign. Ticker.
Hey.
Put it in the chat. See, the thing is, my issue is that it's such a long sequence. So I'm like, oh, what's one's first? Do I do
I know.
So it's all right. So, but that's all right, guys. We got it figured out one more time for good luck here. Make sure you put it in the chat what you guys want to see Obi and Sean talking about in the afternoon session. So, guys, make sure you guys get that into the chat. And just one more point, Sharif, on just like fabs and factories and stuff like that. I think I was reading that what kind of blocked the Qualcomm deal, you know how there's rumors about Qualcomm acquiring Intel?
Sure.
Is that the fabs were included in the deal and that would kind of hindered the deal because it wasn't worth it just due to operating costs.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense because Intel's trying to change its MO, right? From a designer to a fab. So yeah, they're not making any money from that fab yet. They're not.
So exactly. So I think that was something along the lines I've seen on CNBC as well, too. CNBS, as you would like to refer to. But yeah, guys, I mentioned this before. It's kind of just the ebbs and flows of the market, right? We were slightly extended, a little too extended. Now we're pulling back, and with that, all the mags and a lot of the broader market is starting to do so as well, too. So we are in the lunchtime hours. Just keep in mind that we are in that pullback phase. I'm not going to say look for a continuation within the trend. Just be patient. Let those prices come in. Wait for those turnaround signals. Wait to find a potential turnaround signal, and then base a thesis off of that and look to base a trade off of that. So I'm still holding on to some PLTR here. I'm not too sure how this is going to go, but we're going to hold on. You guys know we have a definitive out on that as well, too. So always keep that in mind. This will help if you have a definitive out, a fixed amount of risks that you're willing to take on this trade, and stick to that, right? And then other than that, everything will be kosher. You don't have to worry about taking outsized losses. But I did take a little bit of a loss here on IBIT, which is totally fine, part of the game. We'll go 1 for 2 on this one, and I do think at some point we'll be able to turn around here and continue. But again, I'll just let this phase out. I'll let the overall market kind of do its pullback, let it breathe a little bit, and then if buyers want to step back in around VWAP, around everything, I like Microsoft as well too. So we do have a lot of stocks hovering around VWAP right now, which can be a really good sign. So if we're all kind of moving in sync from that standpoint and we decide that we want to turn around, like Microsoft up only about 0.2% here on the session. Let's see if it decides that it wants to hold VWAP and continue to trade higher and break higher if there's some elasticity in it. But again, I'm just going to hold on to my PLTR trade, and then I'm going to look to get into some IBIT. My friend, what are you cooking up there?
Not much, man. Just keeping my eye on these names. I'm really upset with how the APLD trade went. Yeah, the position board is down for a second, guys. There, the production team is fixing that. APLD, I mean, this one breached 8. I should have accounted for the amount of volatility we'd get there because it's right above and right back up into that 8.15 area. So a little upset with how I traded this one, especially since we were able to exact some profitability off it. I should have definitely been accounting for that $8 area, but it was so well respected, that 8, that, you know, I didn't gauge a break of it. And if I did, it wasn't enough because obviously, where did I get stopped out there? I got stopped out at 95s. So yeah, should have done a little bit better. There it is back, the position board. Guys, I should let you know HCWB halted to the downside. So we're talking about this one taking and breaking levels. 243 HOD, it's halted at 220, but still well above that 10 exponential, which in fact, guys, is south of 2. It's at like 194, 195. So still very much respecting that trend. HCWB above $2, above the 10 exponential. It's a good look right now for this name. Now, if you're trading with P-Pro 8, in order to get in or in order to send an order, while something is halted, you're going to have to use an MOO order, a market on open. It's kind of what you would do if you wanted to put an order on the New York book, for example, when the market opens at 9:30. It's going to execute once it's open. So keep that in mind. If you're trading with real trading, you can't fire off a regular limit order or market order while it's halted. You're going to have to use a MOO order, MOO, market on open. All right, we weaseled into NVIDIA here to try to get in at the volume weighted average price. It put in a bit of a doji candle, but it looks like as if the bleeding is not done on this name yet. So I'm going to give it really tight room. If it breaks that $0.50, I'm going to get out of this name, and then we'll look to set up a little bit differently right now because nothing's really looking that bullish, quite frankly, right now. You've got Microsoft breaking below VWAP, so a lot of trend changes on these names ever since we got that midday geopolitical dump on the future off that 20,725 point area on the NQ. So a lot of weakness right now happening on in the market in general. What's this low here on NVIDIA? 139.40. I need to give it to there. So I'm just gonna send it to you for a second while I adjust my stop.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, we're still holding into this IBIT position. We're taking a third swing at this one here, going 1 for 2 on that trade. So we'll continue to see if we can hold this view up, which it seems to be doing fairly nicely right now. So that's always a good sign. But one thing we do have to keep in mind is that the overall market is starting to pull back a little bit here. We do have Microsoft making I wouldn't say new lows, but it has breached and held VWAP right now as well too. So keep that in mind, guys. If that's going to move down, it might drag the overall market with it as well too. And then you have things like Apple and Meta that were slightly extended and are kind of just hovering around this specific range around, why does that say that? There we go, 267, 280, 228-ish to 229. So we kind of got that little bit of a consolidation phase right there, guys. So keep that in mind. If the market does want to pull back, and these big ones are participating, then just be patient, sit on your hands a little bit, and then wait for price to turn around. You got your stop in place?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you got stopped out.
Oh, okay. Right in time.
Right in time. Yes. So that's just kind of the trading today. That it's been tougher, at least for me anyway. Can't really find a good small cap gapper. Can't really discern these trends. It looks like we're heading down here on the future. So I might keep my eye out for a nice short. It looks like Microsoft was the short to be had. I was looking at it for a possible long for what it was doing at VWAP, but look at that. It just drops there through 416. So it looks like the short is in play right now on the Mag 7. Pretty Panda telling me UAVS steadily then suddenly, look, I got to tell you, I'm not even going to look at UAVS until it finds its way above the volume weighted average price. And currently, still about 20, 30 pennies below there. It's right at 4, but it's going to have to weasel its way above that area over here. So I'll put an alert for it as it approaches volume weighted average price. Otherwise, yeah, I'm going to have to stick to my rules today, certainly, with these small cap gappers. So no UAVS for me, but it looks like Apple's curling up. Come on, NVIDIA. She pushed me out, and then she's right back up. These hammer candles off VWAP are interesting. Okay. Elon, OKLO, still going strong. Let's have a look at Oklo. Bring in the side chart. Yeah, it's a good look. Definitely at highs, working its way up into that 21.25. I look for resistance possibly at 22.50, but yeah, until then, this looks really, really good. That was the implied balance high. Well, not even the implied balance high. That was the institutional prints at 8 a.m. that came into that 22.50 on Friday. So good look there, but yeah. I'll put that on the side chart, but I'm looking at getting in on one of these Mag 7s here. If the future can just curl up a little bit. I don't know if I want to fight this. There's a range being established right now in a firm with 62 to the low side, so I might try to play that a little bit because we're near that low range with the top end of the range looking like it's at that $0.50 or 2/3 there. We'll keep tabs on that. Lexter, penny stock, STI. Let's have a look at that one. Let's load up STI. All right, here we go. Yeah, that's a good look right there. Big mover on STI. What is this up on the day? 21%, $50 million market cap, small market cap at the high of the day right now, 55 pennies with that double top from Friday in the pre. Is that the pre? Yeah, that is a pre-market level, both those at 60 pennies. So we've definitely got resistance at 60 pennies, but that's a nice 10 penny buffer between the current price action and said resistance. So I'm going to put this one on.
Nice.
That's actually a good one right there. We're going to take off SNVS, STI. This is a trending stock, be it 50 pennies or 10, it's trending nonetheless, and it's doing a decent amount of volume. The volume on the day, okay, so I take that back. 8.5 million shares on a 50 penny name, that ain't that much, quite frankly, but the trend is definitely intact there. So
it's your friend. It's your friend today.
Yeah. STI.
Yeah.
We'll do a little bit better than we've done so far. So.
Hey, that's all right. Guys, yeah, IBIT.
What's it doing?
I don't know. I don't know. It's buzzing though, and we like it when it's buzzing. So, guys, we took that first swing on it. I said, hey. It come back to break even. Let me get out of this because I do think that I'm going to get a little bit of a better price. I took a second stab. It breached VWAP again. Didn't work for me, but kept the loss small. And then we punched it. We took that third swing on it. So and now it seems to be working out the thesis. So I think it was only a matter of time, especially when the underlying asset was that strong, that it was going to rebound. It just pulled back a little deeper than anticipated, but now making that push. And as you guys can see, guys, I'm always going to point this out when you're looking for those breakout trades, is that you get that volume by time to step in on that one. So yeah, it's a good look here on IBIT. We're going to continue to hold some of this position. We only have about, 40% left of it left. So we'll keep an eye on this one here. I just want to point this out. I'm not happy about this third entry because I'm going to be extremely picky on it. And when you want to increase that RVR, entry precision is so key. And I think OB can attest to this and agree to it, is that when you really want to get those RVR and hit those really, really big risk to reward trades, the entry has to be so precise. And I'm not happy with this because, yeah, I get a 52.10 fill, but essentially I can have 10 cents more better on this trade, all right? So just keep that in mind. If I had that entry slightly more accurate, it drastically increases the risk to reward ratio on that one. So I'll keep my eye on IBIT. We're still in PLTR, a little bit of a slower grind. It is taking a little bit longer than I anticipated to grind higher. So if it does turn around, I expect it to kind of flush test VWAP and then take it from that point. So I'm not expecting it to kind of continue on the path that it is. Eventually, one of the parties are going to win, either the Bears or the Bulls. And so I'll just be sure to keep an eye on that one there. So, Joe, I agree with that, but sometimes you can break them when you see other aspects favoring your strategy. As for rules, again, I'm pretty strict on my rules. I haven't been trading the longest, but I have been in this game, and I have gone through pretty much every emotion that the majority of traders have gone through. I did start about, been trading live for over 3 years now. It's just best for me to stick to those rules and not break them, even though when you break them and it works out in your favor, then the tendency is like, okay, well, it worked last time, why not let me kind of bend the rules again? But eventually, if you break the rules, your rules will break you because, right? No, but it's true though. Yeah, they will though. And eventually, just from my experience, and if you just think you can do it over and over again, eventually that one loss is just going to be so massive, and then you're going to be doing one of these, and then you're going to be losing your hair, like kind of like I am. So you don't want to be doing that, my friend.
Oh man, back in the day when we was trading at home during the pandemic, there was nobody there to judge you. So the frustration.
Get some help.
I know, Michael. I know. I've been trying, but who can afford it these days?
Yeah.
No, seriously though. Seriously, yeah, man. I used to, wow, emotions definitely had to get under control because you cannot, trade like the way you play a video game.
No,
you know what I mean? You can't get frustrated, throw the controller, and well, that's how it initially started, right?
Yeah,
like,
and everybody definitely can say, because sometimes it's just so frustrating, and you're like, yo, what the actual is going on, right? So yeah. So just make sure you guys just stick to them, and eventually, I think the more calm you get, and the more you accept that it's not going to work out every day in your favor, then the more you can kind of like set back those nerves and not be so reactionary to what's happening out in front of you. But yeah, what do you got?
You know what's interesting too? Like, how come, some people can be more subdued when it comes to their long term and take the hits on the long term and just be okay with it, have that internal composition. And then intraday, it's a different bag.
Whole different battlefield.
I'm going to submit it probably has something to do with the quick decision-making aspect that some people may not be so comfortable with. Whereas if you're holding something in the long term, I got a day, I got a week to mull it over. I don't know, man. I'm just been thinking it out loud over here.
No. And I can totally agree with that. I'm way more comfortable holding size for the longer term than I am from an intraday standpoint. And like you said, it's the quick decision. It's just the momentum of everything. And that's why they kind of call it the casino, right? Like you got flashing lights, you got things going here, prices moving higher. You're literally working with money. And then when you see things moving so fast and you're trading the opening auctions, everything is just so quick and so fierce. You're like, oh, whoa, what do I do? Do I take the money? Do I hold it? Right? But so just keep that in mind, guys. The quicker you can keep those emotions intact, the better I think you'll have in the longevity standpoint of trading, my friend. What are you cooking up?
All right, man. I'm looking at NVIDIA, man. It keeps holding up at VWAP. Katina, man, what are you doing over there? The Katina, man, is long NVIDIA. So this is kind of like reinforcing my idea. I'm going back in, man. Come what may. That's the look. So we're long NVIDIA. It keeps holding up at VWAP. It's doing these bottoming tail candles. And I realize the future is weak at this level, but we'll take every independent trade as it is. So I'm going to give this one a bit of room, and a bit of room, it's going to have to hold 40 pennies. So we're going to go ahead and put that there. There we go, to account for the room that we need to give it. So we're long NVIDIA right now at this general VWAP area, looking to wet our beak possibly there, I think, initially at 70s. Bang. All right, let's set up a little bit more over here. Let's layer the orders in case this one really gets cooking, which I don't anticipate it will, but we're going to put it in anyway. So there's a look there on NVDA. I'm also back in the monster Affirm. We're about 25 pennies in the money on this, but I'm already negative on it. So I'm going to have to account for that where I get my beak wetter. So we're going to take a little bit here. Now I've got some at 40s here on AFRM. Sorry, not 40s. 33s. So for that third of a dollar on AFRM, bang on NVIDIA. We'll take out some more there too. All right, okay. So now we're looking to take out some more next level 82s there. Shout out to the Katina man for weaseling me into this one. He didn't do anything. It was me weaseling, obviously, but he was telling me that he was interested in it as well. So that was why we got it. So we're looking at for this one curling off the volume weighted average price. Looking for this one ultimately, obviously, to break and take 40, but anything less than 40 pennies, I am gone. I want to mention as well, Microsoft, break even on the day now. So here we go. The soft one is back to 415 on the dang dot. And that 415 level, in case you didn't know, that was a closing print on Friday. So I'm all eyes and ears right now on MSFT for this level. If it wants to hold up, I'm not going to have a resting order to get cut up on this one, but if it does hold up, give me a few green candles or maybe even one to the high side to make a new high. What do I mean by that? The green candle on the 5 minute to make a new high. So this candle, the high of this candle is 415 and a third. The subsequent candle, if it's green, will have to close above 415 and a third. That would get me interested. Ultimately, I'd be looking at taking out the majority of the position into VWAP at that 416 area because I would be concerned it would act as a level of resistance. So that's what we'll look for there. If the future wants to catch a bid, I would submit to you guys, Apple is trading independent of any action today on the future. It is very close to highs. It's been waffling with 229 for a hot minute, with the ultimate high of the day being that fifth of a dollar. The Cybertruck, though, has worked its way above volume weighted average price after consolidating there, Joe, from 1120 till we broke and took it at 1220. So for a hot hour, this one was below VWAP, just took that level, 345. Our friend Elon gotta be given the trade of the year or the bet of the year. Betting on Donald Trump looks to have really helped him financially. I don't know how much he's accreted since basically the election, but he's up a lot. I don't know, what was the last little bit? 40 billion, 50 billion? He's up something like that. Net worth is what I'm talking about. So anyway, TSLA above the volume weighted average price. We'll look to see if this one wants to weasel above. But what I'm looking at now is the weakness coming in on NVIDIA, but it still hasn't given up the ghost at VWAP here. So we'll look to extract a couple of more outs before really worrying about that. I also want to mention one final thing here before we send it back to Joe. The main man, Adam DeLuce, was telling me in the chat, he's like, look, bro, Meta's been bleeding for a hot minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 red candles in a row on the 5. This one semi-green, but topping tail. So Meta could be due here for a nice little touch and bump. Where's that touch and bump going to come? Well, these candles over here were showing me possible 556. Again, not going to have a resting order there. It's got to print a green candle and make a new high to get me interested. But yeah, Meta has been bleeding for a hot minute, and that's caught the attention of my main man, Adam DeLuce, and now it has my attention as well. So we'll keep an eye on that one, Joseph.
Yeah. Just to add up to your Tesla standpoint, the back up over $1 trillion market cap, right? It's around 1.1. So he did gain a lot of value in this current run higher. Yeah. So he's back in the $1 trillion club. Congratulations to Elon. Joe W., does Sean use the 50 EMA or the 50 MA? MA. Moving average. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, there you go. And I know he loves the 200 period as well too.
Yep.
I'm sure that's the simple moving 200 simple as well too. So those are his favorite indicators, maybe, in that he likes to base.
And he loves VWAP.
And he loves VWAP too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think as an intraday trader, I think you have to love VWAP because it definitely dictates a lot. But guys, just keep in mind we're slowly kind of grinding higher. Just chopping around a little bit. We're still sitting in this PLTR trade. Slightly out of the money, but nothing crazy. I told you we have the definitive out on that one. And we're just holding on to this IBIT trade here as well too. So let's see if we fail to make a new high here or we go in and test that, which I do think happens. As you can see, there's a little bit of an imbalance on the level 2. This guy. I love it, man. Yeah, I love it.
The computer man is doing it now too. I know he's doing it as a farce, but it's fun.
Joey
we have a lot
Chestnut.
of fun on the desk.
Anyways, yeah, guys. So we're holding on to that here. I do like the imbalance on the level 2. As you can see, it's kind of favoring the ask side. So let's see if that strength can continue, and we look to test that high day, as I mentioned multiple times on the session. So, Joe, how have you been recently? Hope all is well. Oh, ADL, yeah, man, thanks, brother. Been really good, man. Just playing hockey, been charting, just been living the day trader life, essentially, man. So I've been really good. I appreciate you, and thank you for asking, and looking forward to the next time you are in the city of Toronto. So yeah, that was a good time. It was nice of you to come by and hang out by the office. It was the first time meeting Adam DeLuce.
Oh,
I
yeah,
know you guys
same.
were talking to him for a while and
Yeah.
stuff like that, but it was my first time meeting him. So yeah, it was nice meeting him. A good chap, a good fellow. But yeah, brother, that's it. I'm just chilling here in this IBIT, trying to let this trade play out and see what PLTR is going on. I know you're fist pumping, so
Well, I
tell the
took
people
some
what you
out,
got.
but Joe, right back down.
Right back
Right,
down
so
on
that's why I got the
NVDA, yeah.
resting orders. It's been very consolidative at VWAP. But, you know, if we're holding VWAP, if there's one good thing to say about this, we're holding VWAP from the north side as opposed to the south side. Who knows how long that lasts for? That's why I'm taking out the beak wetters as we can get them, because quite frankly, it's tougher trading today. So for me anyway, I'm speaking for myself. So we'll look to do a little bit better there. Took it out for a nice 20 penny winner for the half the position there on a firm, and then got stopped out for the remaining amount. That's going to be the last time I trade this as a long, and the reason being now, it is really giving up the ghost at the 10 exponential. So this is kind of what I'm seeing. Refresh this bad boy. There we go. We kind of had this, you know, consolidative move. You could have said, oh, we were setting up for a bull flag. Maybe we are, but I wasn't playing it that way. I was playing it as a range between 62, to 62 and a half, and it gave up the ghost there on that 5-minute candle all the way down to 61 and a half now. So that ain't the move. What we'll look for is something in and around the volume weighted average price. So I'm going to throw an alert for about 60.75. Currently, VWAP is at 60.50, but we know VWAP's a dynamic level, so by the time maybe this comes down, it's a little bit higher there, and I want to be made aware of when this one comes into VWAP. APLD, yeah, doing its absolute most there to consolidate sideways. $8 to the downside, about 8.25 or so to the top side. I'm not going to play this one as a range, but if it does come back into VWAP, I probably will pick this up. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to throw another alert there for 8.06 or so to be made aware when this does come into the volume weighted average price. So look at that one. Oh, I do see another interesting small cap gapper that's made its way onto the scene over here. We talked about this one earlier, STI, but it was just a little bit too far from where I want to trade it. Now it just put an inverse hammer candle there on the 5, defending the volume weighted average price. So we'll look to weasel into this one and take some out incrementally if this one does pop back up. STI up 12% with a nice little pattern there, mostly respectful of the volume weighted average price. We'll see if we can extract some profits off that right now. Not much else going on. HCWB halted down again. Where's that one? There it is. HCWB halted at 222. So now it's becoming consolidative. So remember when we were talking about assessing the halts and what they look like, whether they're still trending up or down, you're still able to make that assessment even though they're halting. Now, the assessment I would submit to you is a consolidative, a sideways move here for HCWB, just owing to the fact that we haven't made any higher highs or higher lows for the last, I want to say, what time, half an hour or so on this name. So we'll see if it wants to break and take 250 or drop below 2, because right now it's a bit of a consolidative look on that. So pack our patience, see if we can weasel any trades on there. NVIDIA coming down. This will stop me here if I do get anything below 40, so we will lose about 18 pennies on the last little amount there. That is if it gives up the ghost at the volume weighted average price. Otherwise, I'll look to defend VWAP at these levels. And that's really all I've got on at the moment. NVIDIA and STI. STI obviously not doing quite what I wanted to yet. What else we got here? Chamoun, Waded, BTCT, please, your thoughts. Have a look. This must be doing well today because crypto's moving. BTCT, here we go. Okay, so not much of a mover today. Consolidative though. So look at that. So it's not really giving up the ghost. This one was moving dollars at a time before, and usually they give back the move within a day or two. No, now we're on the 4th day here of holding near highs. Well, not near highs. Obviously, 28 was the high there, but we're definitely not dropping like I would have thought. I personally wouldn't trade this today unless it's breaking to the high side. I'm not going to try to guess where this is going to base out, but BTCT, look, if you're looking at swinging this, it's a different story than if you're looking at intraday trading, because this one, you're going to have to, I would personally only trade it if it's trending. I'm not going to try to guess where it finds areas of support and resistance, but I should tell you that this $16 area, if you look at the half an hour, does have support from that November 12th pop. So we got into that 1685 with the closing prints being around 16. So you could find support here, but that ain't my move. I'm going to stay away from that. What are you looking at, Joseph?
Yeah, I'm over here looking at Walmart because Christmas in the chat pointed out that they reported, and yeah, Christmas,
What?
yeah, he's a guy named Chris. He's pointing out a couple good things. So yeah, I kept my eye on this one as well too. I had it down in my notes saying that they report tomorrow before the market opens. So I was just keeping an eye on that too because I know Sharif and I mentioned it's kind of like Costco. Like this is a stock, and we mentioned this last week or the week before. It's like, where do you get in on this stock? Do you buy like any form of little dip on this thing and then just look for it to just continue to move the way it's been moving? Like this is such a fantastic stock. If there's something that you want that's picture perfect and almost picture perfect, then this is what you want your stock to look like and the ones that you own. So we do have the report tomorrow. I'll be looking forward to that. I don't know if I'm going to start a position on this thing just yet, but again, I'll have to wait and see. But this is something that I would definitely look to own for the long term. That and Costco as well too. Like it's like these things are just absolutely phenomenal. I'm waiting for the split actually on Costco. So a couple stocks that are really on my radar for the long term are Netflix, Costco, and Walmart. Those are something that I really want to diversify my portfolio. So I'll keep in mind, and I'm definitely going to keep an eye on these, especially tomorrow on Walmart as well too, because I really want to get involved in this stock. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Rohit Sharma, NNE, please. $2 super chat. Thank you very, very much.
What a polite person.
NNE, yeah, exactly. Let's take a look here. Sharif, this might be right down your alleyway here, brother. If you want something nuclear, are you familiar with them?
I love nuclear, man.
All right, yeah, so this might be right down your alleyway here. Let's see what we got cooking up here on NNE. Nano Nuclear Energy. It's an early-stage nuclear energy company. The company is focused on developing smaller, cheaper, and safer advanced portable clean energy solutions utilizing proprietary reactor designs. It is focused on 4 business lines, including micronuclear reactor business, fuel fabrication businesses, and et cetera. As of right now, it's looking pretty good.
I'm only interested if they're shipping, et cetera.
Oh,
if they're not, bro, I'm not interested.
Then you're not interested? No. Okay. If they're shipping it, okay.
Shipping, et cetera.
Yeah, okay. So let's see here. Take a look.
I didn't get my joke.
No, I didn't. Shipping,
et cetera. You said et cetera.
So like, shipping, et cetera. Yeah, shipping.
Joke?
Yeah, a little slow to race on that
my
one.
joke sucked.
Yeah, it kind of did. It was tough.
Ray getting upset. We got to tell you guys to vote, by the way, okay? So just there it is. Join, exclamation point, join space, $, and the favorite ticker that you guys want. There's a lot moving today, Joe. A lot of it's to the downside, but
hey.
yeah, there's a lot moving, so throw it in. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. But just make sure you guys vote. Shipping, et cetera. Vote, et cetera. All right. Yeah, guys, no, it's not a bad look so far. You're getting the volume supporting the move here. I mean, if you're in this at a good price or you're still looking to add, you see the volatility start to pick up here, dwindle, hold the double bottom really nicely, and now starting to appreciate really nice here. I mean, the stock is up quite a bit from this current low in September, so congratulations to you. If you've been in anywhere around these lows and are still holding on to this position, I do think at this rate, I don't know too much about the company or what they do, but from a technical standpoint, it looks like you're on the right side of the trade there, especially if you're long, so congratulations on that one. I like that look there. What are you cooking up there, my friend?
I'm looking at NVIDIA. I added right at that 50 penny area, and I took it out as it came into 65. So I've been dancing with this one to the top side and the south side, doing a little bit better on it now. Set up another beak wetter there, mid 60s with the ultimate, with the higher beak wetter. Still at that 82. So I did add on that descent because look, it's defending that volume weighted average price level, not by much. So I was looking to I'm going to play it as a range until it breaks out. So doing a little bit better on this one, looking to extract some more profitability here. But there's a lot of downward pressure right now on this market. Meta, VWAP, Google, VWAP, and Microsoft still holding that low of the day. So I'm keeping my eye on this one. But look, it did bamboozle you. I mean, this is frustrating if you got into Microsoft thinking this was going to move up. Case in point, these candles right off 415, look what it does after that. Not monster, but a nice 50, 60 penny move there into the 10 exponential, only to kind of just sell off the entire thing and come right back down into 415. So MSFT at the day low, at break even, not the day's low, excuse me, the day's low is at 412, the IB low there, but that was it didn't hang out there at all. Essentially, this is really kind of the day low, that 414 and a half, 415 area. So we'll keep an eye on MSFT there. Apple just on the way up, bro.
Wow.
I could get a fill possibly in my long term if this works its way up into high 229s. Right now, it's that fifth of a dollar that's holding us down, but very respectful today of the moving averages, AAPL. Didn't see that one coming. Gotta tell you the truth. Did not see that. There's no catalyst today for Apple that I know of anyway. Let's have a look. Make sure that nobody was chiming in about Apple on the day. I'm not seeing anything here. Nope, nothing on Apple. Just looking at my blotter, making sure. No analyst chiming. Nobody chiming there. So okay, yeah. Well, that's fine. They've got a what's it called? A $150 billion share buyback program, so it could always be that. Guys, and Meta is at VWAP now and really bleeding off that top 560 HOD. It's at 555 and looking to break the volume weighted average price. I can't believe how many red candles this is without a green holdup. Not one green holdup, Joe. I mean, again, I'm really interested in Meta between 555 and 554. 554 is the closing print on Friday, and 555 is VWAP. It's really that simple. So it's going to have to, if it holds up anywhere here and puts another green candle to make a new high, I'm going to look to get long Meta. It's still positive on the day, but barely 0.15. Uh-oh, we got stopped out of NVIDIA. The future really bled down there. Oh, wow. We break this consolidation area low here on the NQ December contract. 20,636 or so. So that 20,006 and a third, we gave up the ghost there. Now we're at the quarter with VWAP being a little bit above that 600-point area. So happy that I actually scalped a little bit on NVIDIA because, well, if I was looking for that breakout trade, I would have been still waiting. So this is really bleeding now and a lot of weakness right now on the future. You wouldn't know it, though. Looking at Apple, it's still at that 229 area. Unreal today, the price action kind of bamboozling. We'll keep an eye out on that. We're still involved in this STI. We're 1 penny out of the money. Is this printing 50? This is a small cap gapper that kind of just showed up onto the scene today at VWAP, holding above VWAP. But if it gives up the ghost at VWAP, it'll be another L for me today. So we'll look to do a little bit better. Still a bit of a tougher day trading. What are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm over here looking at PLTR as it's starting to pull back a little bit, and we're not getting that move that recovery I was kind of expecting in it, but we'll still continue to hold. We have, I'm not going to give it as much room as I was before now, so once it breaks 161.87, then I'm going to get out of this trade. Ibad Ula, you getting Walmart? No, eventually I'm looking to get Walmart if the price is right, so we're going to sit and wait on that one. And then I know Thomas Kondo said he has the mortgage still on DJT, so good luck to you. Yeah, I know. I hope it all works out well. But guys, as you can see, we're still holding in here on PLTR. We'll pull out the IBIT trade here as well too because we are now out of that one. And this is why I kind of just stick to my rules. Because now, look, why would I want to make a winning trade a losing one as we go to breach this pivot low here on IBIT and now going to breach it and potentially make a new low? We did have that failed high and even the test of it, so we didn't get that. We got that lower high on IBIT and continuing to move down as the market starts to pull back a little bit. So it might just take a little bit more time, excuse me, than anticipated. And that's totally fine. That's why we get out when we're supposed to get out and then just have the ability to be ready when it's time to get back into things, all right? So that's one thing, too. And I was going to mention this earlier when we were talking about risk management and just kind of the emotions of trading. When you first start trading, you're best to use just like a fixed risk profile. So kind of like break up your daily risk. Say you want to risk $100 a day. And then you want to break those trades up into whatever 4 or 5 trades and then stick to those rules, especially if your trading platform allows you to use calculated fixed risk, then take advantage of that, right? So it'll do your share calculation for you, your size calculation, and then you have your definitive stop that is also calculated as well too. So from your stop to where the current price is or your entry price, it'll calculate your amount of share size and then move on to that based off of how much you're willing to risk. So just keep in mind, especially if you're starting out, use these tools, take advantage of those tools that your platform provides, and that's really going to help tame those emotions and stay in some trading and the longevity to it.
Joseph, do you ever wish you could trade without risking your own savings? With Trade the Pool, you can trade real shares using company capital, meaning you're not risking your own funds. And here's how it works. You choose the evaluation according to the account size that you like to manage. It's from $20,000 up to $260,000 in buying power. Once you meet the profit target, you become a funded trader, and you start trading with Trade the Pool's capital. And what's the best part? You keep up to 80% of the profits. It's a game changer, especially for traders looking to bypass that PDT rule and access capital without all the usual hurdles. So if you're interested, head on over to tradethepool.com and check it out. You'll see exactly why traders are loving it. All right, man, let's get back into the trading game over here. We're going to wet our beak on some profits on STI. I can't believe I'm actually saying that on the day.
Sorry, Sharif.
Yeah, go for it, bro.
We have a question for you, Sharif. I think this is, okay, we'll skip that. There's no such thing as a dumb question. But on the 5-minute, looking back from the 15th of November to today, are we making a cup and handle on SPY?
Let's have a look. On what do you say, the 5-minute?
Yes.
Okay, so I see what you're saying. From what day?
The 15th.
15th.
Yes.
Okay, so this day over here. Yeah, look, we're rounded bottoming a little bit, Ram, but we're still, if you look at the larger trend, I'd say we're rounded topping, especially if you look at the wider frame. So if you're looking essentially from November 6th to the 15th, look how we kind of arch a bit of a rounded top. But I see your point that we do have a higher low today than we did on Friday. That's all good. That's all good and dandy, but we're not really breaking through any major highs here. What do I mean by that? Like, for example, Friday's high. Where is that? 592 and change. We're not above Friday's high yet. Nor are we above Thursday's high at 598. So even though we have a higher low, we don't necessarily have a higher high. So I wouldn't want to look at it from a micro level like that, especially when I see something like this, which is much more pronounced and developed over many, many more days than the 2-day holdup you're looking at right here. So you're not wrong in that sense. Now, what I do see, though, is look at this. This is really important.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. Look at this. Flips from resistance to support, this 585 to 584. We held up there for a hot minute on the SPY. Lo and behold, we clear it, we go up to 600, but look where we're finding support, right at that area top. So that's, to me, what's operative here. Not the 2-day position, but the longer term look that we cleared. We got into 600. I would have anticipated resistance at 600. It's $600. It's a nice, it's the psychological resistance level. This is what I really like, though, and that this creates more predictability where you would find support rather than where you find resistance on at least the day. So let's keep an eye out on that. But great question, and maybe you're right. Maybe that rounded bottom is operative intraday as well, or not from the time frame I'm looking at it, but more from a 2-day holdup the way you're looking at it. I'm not going to say you're wrong, but it's just not one that I would execute on. So yeah, that's a look. Where are we at? We're still 50 pennies here on STI. It's holding up above VWAP. I've layered my orders on this already. I'm going to let this one either print me to the high side or we'll get stopped out. Uh-oh, look who's in the chat. Big smile. SPY magnet between 583 and 585 going back. Test that soon. We were literally just talking about that. I guess maybe that's why he chimed in there. Yeah, good look, Big Smile, because this is the level that I was looking at here as possible support, that 583. You know, you could say up to 585 to 583. So I think that's what you said right there. Yeah, you said 585 to 583. I agree with you on everything there, except I know that you're looking for it to come down. And I don't disagree with you on that, because right now, Big Smile, we got a lower high, especially if you're comparing it to Friday and certainly if you're comparing it to Thursday. So high or low or not, the day's not done. We could get that rejection. We'll have to wait and see. What are you looking at, Joseph?
Yeah, I'm back here in IBIT. A lot of people in the chat are mentioning Tesla, and someone mentioned that they had some Tesla puts as well too. So let's take a look here and see what we got going on with Tesla, especially from an intraday standpoint, because I'm keeping my eye on other things. So I haven't really been watching it. Okay, I don't even have any indicators up, but what I do like to see, let's see if this candle, this 5-minute print, can go as a potential indecision. And if it does, I will be personally looking for a little bit of a rebound. So if we can get this print to either close as a full hammer or as it is a doji right now, then I'm gonna look to participate in this as well too. But again, what I like about it is I also have a definitive out, all right? So if we break the low of that candle, my thesis is no longer valid, okay? So keep that in mind. If we stick to this print, if this print doesn't have any more selling pressure, then I'm gonna look to participate as well too. So really good look on that one, I think there, guys, because if we do close as that hammer, that means we can potentially pull back. I mean, we're putting in a solid day here on Tesla, still up extremely positive on the session. About 5.6% on the day, so I like that look there. So let's see if this print can hold up, and then we can confirm that thesis and look to participate in the long on that one. So guys, we're back in here on IBIT for the 4th time. We love it. Again, here we had that first trade, came back, stopped this out, break even. We took the L on it again here on the 2nd swing. 3rd swing, we're probably just around sitting on 3rd base at that one. I'm not going to call it a grand slam or a home run at that point, but sitting on 3rd base there. And then now we're hitting in that. We got some runners on base, so let's see what we can get going on IBIT there. I'm still in PLTR, slowly grinding higher, only about 10 cents in the money on that one, but we'll still take it. But one thing that is really intriguing me, below VWAP here, to see if we can hold it, Sharif,
yes, sir.
Tesla. And I'm glad that the chat mentioned this, because if this 5-minute print stays to how it is, I'm going to look to take a long on that one. So keep that in mind. And with IBIT, if we break VWAP, or actually not VWAP, 5190s, then I'm out of the trade again, and that's totally fine. So we'll just sit there and wait and see what we got going on. But as of right now, eyes like a hawk on Tesla, my friend. What are you cooking on?
I'm keeping my eye on this name over here, still STI. We're back into APLD2 for that volume weighted average price dip or drop and pop. We'll see if it wants to hold that level. I've accounted my stop this time for what I feel is a bit of a better level given how it traded last time. But again, obviously nothing's guaranteed. We'll look to extract a little bit more profitability off APLD if it wants to hold up at VWAP. Man, Apple is just on the way up, dude. It is not trading in the way like any of these names are trading today. Unusual. 229.21 is the high of the day. We're back above 229 on AAPL, so we'll keep tabs on that one. I'm also looking at Meta now because Meta just got to break even on the day. So we were looking at Meta at VWAP, and Meta still hasn't got a green candle on the 5, bro, since 11:45. That is an hour and 10 minutes worth of just pure red. So how many is that? There's a lot of candles. There's really no point to looking at it right now. But I would like to get something here on Meta because I feel like this it's setting up for a possible mean reversion. Can we get a green candle or two at least into maybe, where do we consolidate at? 556, 556.5. This area hold up over here. Maybe the IB high at 557.5. META, just a lot of blood on this name with no hold up. Are you serious? Apple's going to take out the high of the day. Apple's printing high of the day. So again, guys, I've already put the order out in my personal account. If this hits 229, like high 80s, that is it. We're taking out 20% of the account. I haven't taken out one iota, one share of this name since I think I picked it up August 2023. So you can kind of guess what the price is in and around that level. But so we're going to look to take some out of this one because, again, I'm concerned about the tariffs. I've made my point very clear about the tariffs and how I feel about them, that he's given Apple exceptions in the past. That doesn't mean he gives them exceptions in the future. So there is, kind of an unresolved debate in my mind right now about how this all unfolds for Apple. Because it could easily add about $250, $200 to the price of the iPhone if we factor in some of the tariffs right now and at the current rate. So AAPL printing the highs of the day. It looks like for now, Meta is defending that 554, which is the closing print. And the soft one is also coming off that 415. Get it, Katina Man.
Let's go.
415 at 415.5. The Katina Man is long. The futures right here. Shout out to him.
Whoa.
TQQ, I know. Yeah, I'm going to do that in a second. I just have to see where it is on the actual future continuum, 2625. I think you're in at 2625. So let's have a look at what that would be on the future continuum. It's already right, eh? I knew it. Yeah, he got it. He gets it in. Look, he loves VWAP, and I've been watching the continuum for 4 years, so I kind of know, right? Yeah, Ram, weasel on over to his chart. There it is. Shout out to the Katina, man. He's printed. Are you gonna wait for the break and take of that range? He's taking out half in anticipation of the range, and then he's gonna leave the. And he's also long the Monster Nvidia off the lows there. It's okay. It's a great trade there, Katina, man. He's obviously able to work his way into NVDA. So great trades there for the Katina, man. Midday. What was done at the gym today, by the way? He's swimming. Swimming. He banged out a kilometer. That's not bad, bro.
Tough,
not
man.
bad.
That's tough. Swimming is not my strong suit.
No way?
No.
Yeah, it's not bad. I haven't done it in a hot minute, though, to be quite honest with you. Okay, Ram doesn't know how to swim.
Whoa, yeah, no, that's not good.
Wow.
So I've swam in.
She got kicked out of swimming classes. She's probably bullying the kids in the class. That's right. That's probably why.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
I can see that. Yeah. That's my biggest fear. Open water.
Really?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Terrified. Yeah.
Can I ask why?
Shit, well, I'm okay with that because I'm openly scared of open water.
Ram just told him in his ear, don't tell people your biggest fear.
I'm totally okay with it. Sharks.
Sharks, yeah. Fair. That I can get behind.
Sharks.
Well, that's the
Even
thing.
so, it's just a panic, dude. I just panic. I don't know what's under my feet.
Can I tell you that sharks have been found in the Great Lakes, right? Because they come through in the St. Lawrence Seaway. So I'm just
Don't get me started
there,
there,
bro.
I think like lamprey,
bro.
and it's lamprey too, because you get those. You know what lamprey are?
No, I have no idea.
Whoa, take a look at what a lamprey is.
Is it a big,
no,
like,
it's it looks like an eel, but
fish?
it's like an eel with razor sharp teeth. So yeah, I've swam in some.
None of that.
None of that. And they're.
No, Katina, man, I want zero smoke from that eel looking.
Smoke of that, yeah, man.
Have you ever encountered an eel IRL?
No.
So have you touched one, Katina, man? Because number one, they're disgusting. Number two, they can shock the hell out of you.
Well, that's an electric. That's an.
Yeah, I want none of that. I want none of that.
Smoke. I've swam in some sketchy waters in Trinidad and Jamaica. Yeah, and this is waters I probably not.
Sharks though in Jamaica though, right? Like,
I don't know. I don't want to find out either. So we'll keep it at that. But there's this Caribbean cuisine called bake-in shark. So it's fried shark, right? In Trinidad. So we're swimming in Trinidad, right off a cove where they sell bacon shark. So essentially, they're out there catching sharks, right? And I'm swimming in this water. And after I thought about it,
they're catching sharks, and I'm in the water.
Swimming in it. So after I sat and I thought about that a little bit, it wasn't the best idea. But hey, that's it. So
loving it, Joe.
Yeah.
Loving it, man. Go Apple, go! I'm
baby.
like 18 pennies from getting filled on the long term, guys. I'm not involved in Apple on the day, intraday over here, but we're keeping an eye on the dead one as it's working its way into that 230. It's been a resistance level for a hot minute. If you've been watching Apple lately, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We are getting a nice little bump here, guys, on the future, and it has Meta defending the volume weighted average price. The closing print on Friday, that 554 level. I think someone just could have extracted $1 off that because I think it worked its way into 555. Likewise with Microsoft, it comes into that closing print from Friday around 415. Now it does breach it, to be fair, by 25 pennies. But look at that. Now we're above 416 and taking VWAP here on MSFT. So the Fuge and the Mag 7 catching a bit of a bid. Not bad look. You wouldn't know it looking at Tesla because Tesla's going down, breaching again 340 on the way down. So we'll look to see which ones are really catching the biggest bid right now from this little move up. Apple at the high of the day. So I'm not going to trade that intraday, but we'll keep tabs on that one. Shout out to Big Spile. What do you got there, Big Spile? $5 super chat.
Jeez.
Sharknado must have been the scariest mover ever for you, Joe.
This guy is a joke.
Or what was that other one?
Jaws?
With Jaws, yeah. The Steven Spielberg, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. But that was like super 80s and like
super,
yeah,
but I think that's
graphics
what
are
installed.
wild,
Yeah,
right?
it's obviously like a mechanical shark and
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
But it's just the thought of just having that there. It's absolutely terrifying for me. But anyways, we have a question. Lee Ducky, Joe W. What is a good option strategy to make use of the high IV before earnings? Is selling a put plus selling a call a strategy? A strategy if you think the stock will stay in between like a reverse straddle. Yeah, so what you're kind of thinking of is a short straddle or strangle. I wouldn't advise doing that your first time out. Just kind of paper trade it at first. But what you can do is exactly what you said is you can do a short straddle or strangle and sell those calls. So what are call and put? And therefore, that means you have a market, pretty much essentially a market neutral strategy. So you don't think price is going to exceed either one. Your best bet is to go with a short strangle on that one. So you're going to buy out the monies, calls and puts, but then you also need to hedge that. So it kind of makes somewhat of an iron condor on that if you really want to stay market neutral. So just kind of paper trade it, build yourself somewhat of a thesis, paper trade it, collect the data, see how the trade works out. But look to do a short strangle or an iron condor because you probably won't be able to do a short strangle unless you have the capital for those short options. So you'll end up just essentially creating an iron condor anyways. So if you really think that, if you're really looking to aim for a market neutral strategy, go with the condor. You can kind of give yourself a spread and say, hey, I don't think price is going to go above said or below said, and that gives you a little bit of a room, plus you're catching those increased premiums as well too. So I would advise starting off with a condor, and then you can kind of dig deeper into how you're going to implement straddles and strangles from a short bias from that standpoint. But the condor is a little bit more safer of a route, especially if you're just looking to get in, and you can still capture those heightened premiums before and after the earnings release, especially after. And then with that condor, you have a wide spread, and then eventually it just fiddles off, and then you'll just be catching all that time value, time decay working in your favor in that standpoint. All right. So hopefully that answered your question, Lee Ducky. I like that, but just make sure you paper trade those first, collect the data so you understand what you're getting into, have your losses, and don't forget that options contracts cannot be opened or closed in the pre or post market. So keep that in mind. All right. So guys, I mentioned this earlier on Tesla. And I said, if this 5-minute candle prints how it was as this doji, I'm going to look to take a long. So I played the break of the high on it, and then we got this little bit of a move here to the top side. It was still about a point and a half move, a point or so, and then we came and got stopped out, break even. But I still believe this thesis is valid until we break 337.77. Until then, I'm still going to confirm that this can be a potential bottom, and there is some potential reversal signals on that one. All right. So while I was monitoring that, I wasn't keeping too much of an eye on IBIT, is what I meant to say. So yeah, Joe, really useful advice about the condor. Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad that helped you. I think condors are one of my favorite strategies because essentially one side of the trade is going to be correct, right? So I know I was talking about some bull puts on Amazon and Apple, so I'll keep those in mind as well too. But as for IBIT, I wish I took some off here, but I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't paying well enough attention, and I apologize for that. But other than that, I still think we hold. If we continue to hold and we look like we're going to bounce off of VWAP, maybe the curl over was going to take a little longer than I anticipated, and that's totally fine. That's usually how things work. Timing is one of the most difficult things in trading, but I mean that's why you gotta stop out when you have to stop out, and then give yourself that opportunity to get back in when you're supposed to get back in, and that is the case here on IBIT. So again, if we break 52s, then I'm gonna get out of the trade, and then maybe if we curl back around VWAP, I'll look to get in there. What are you cooking up, my friend?
I'm looking at Meta because it's curling right above the VWAP or the volume weighted average price. Sorry, and it's kind of stuck in a bit of a range here between the closing print from Friday and VWAP. So 555 is VWAP, 554 is the closing print. We're at it right now, and it's a couple of green candles finally in the life of Meta because there was a lot of red on the way down, especially off that high. 560, essentially the high of the day. Technically 555.90. But look at this. We're struggling to get above VWAP despite the fact that the future pumped up a little bit over here. So, yeah, it's definitely not Apple. It's definitely not Google, which is also working back nicely above that 174, working its way into that 174 and 2/3, which is the high of the day, currently at a quarter right now. So the strongest, I would say, on the day are going to be definitely Google and Apple. I know Tesla's up 5%. I get that. Percentage-wise, it's a great move, but it's a gap up that's really keeping Tesla afloat here. It's not the trend subsequent to the bell. In fact, subsequent to the bell, we're low. We're, right at that opening print. Are we? Where is 930? Yeah, where'd we open? We're actually lower. We opened up at 930 at 340 and 2/3. We're at 338 and 2/3, so we're $2 lower now on the Cybertruck for Tesla. By the way, so I booked my Cybertruck officially. I'm gonna go for the test drive Ram, and it's gonna be December 6th. I've already got my confirmation from Tesla, and it's gonna be Randy and I think that that's apt. I think that's very apt because obviously we all know Randy is a car buff, and I like to pretend that I'm a car buff as well. I'm not as to the degree that Randy is, obviously, but it would be really appropriate to go with him. So it's on Friday. That's the only day I could get. All the other days were all booked. So much was the demand to try this thing out. So I got a Friday afternoon. We're going to record the whole thing, kind of goes without saying there. And it's going to be better because there's two of us now that can actually record. So I don't have to illegally or, record myself when I'm not supposed to be holding on to the phone. So yeah, we'll be doing some of that. We'll test FSD, obviously. We'll do the whole shebang there. But I can't wait to actually be inside a Cybertruck, report on it. And yeah, so that's kind of been the thing for me there for a while. So I was just saying that you heard about that?
Yeah, well, I didn't hear. I was going to say, you didn't
pumped
tell me.
about that, man.
Do you, so you have the booking?
Today.
You have the...
Yeah, December 6th. Yeah.
Oh, really? There's that much backlog on it.
Dude, I was looking at with Brendo, like the first day was literally the 6th, and I chose the best time, which was 5 o'clock, I could get the hell out of here and make it there on time, right?
Driving this Cyber. All right, man, nice. That's gonna be wicked.
So it's 2 weeks, I know, Raymond, but if I want to test drive a Model Y or a Model X right now, I can literally go in there and do it. So by comparison, there's a lot.
That'd be cool. You're starting to see a lot more of them on the road.
Yeah, I still haven't seen one.
No
Fabian
way.
saw a blacked out one.
A blacked out one, yeah.
Brendo saw one parked on the road the other day on the weekend. I still haven't seen it. You haven't seen a Cybertruck yet? The Katina man has seen the Cybertruck in action. I still have it.
Yeah, in a bunch. So.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I'll gotta do a little bit better there, Joe. In any event, I'm still keeping my eye on Meta here because I'm really interested to take this one if it's going to continue north. I'm also happy with the way I'm trading APLD now. Finally able to extract some revenge off this. So we got back in at VWAP for the exact reason that we mentioned before. Somebody's buying it at $8. Generally, the volume weighted average price. The only time it really gave up the ghost there was this over here, and it gave it by 5 pennies. So it went down to $7.95. That pushed me out of the trade. I'm back in, and I'm extracting some profitability on this one. So APLD involved in that. I'm also involved in STI, and we're able to extract some profits on this one as well. But we're talking 2 pennies here. Right? Like this is a 50 penny name, and it's holding VWAP. It's not breaking the high of the day. So I'll take what I can get with this one. Gonna keep an eye on it. But I gotta remind you guys that the afternoon segment is literally nothing without you. So make sure you're getting into that chat and vote every day. You have until 1:50. The Big Kahunas, aka the Katina Man, and the Obi, he is the one, Kenobi. We'll look at the tickers for you. It's dealer's choice here, baby. Whatever you want, throw it in there into the chat, but only the top 5 tickers make it on. So if you want to be strategic about your vote, see what other people are voting for and kind of vote their way to get your ticker on there. Otherwise, you'll have to wait until it makes its way onto the top 5. What is going on over there? NVIDIA? NVIDIA, the Katina Man's $1 in the money. And 40 handles on the futures, Joseph.
Jeez.
We're all playing for second, baby.
We're all, yeah, exactly. That is it, my guy. I'm over here looking. A lot of people in the chat are asking for coin, so we're gonna take a gander on coin. because I think maybe I haven't looked at it today, but I think, oh wow, it's trending a lot better than what I thought it was going to be. So yeah, wow. Okay, so let's find the opening drive here on coin here, guys, and see what everybody else is looking at and what I seem to be missing out on. So here, boom. Okay, so we have this open. We gap down here, sell off a little bit here, and then we put in this candle, and then kind of this tweezer candle, and then we don't even look back. So we start consolidating, and then now we're slowly crawling higher and higher with the volume stepping in on the 5-minute time frame too as we go to break this support and then now make new highs of days. So good luck there. But as for the opening auction here, a little bit of low volume, hence we sell down the low volume on the continued selling, and then sure enough, a nice V-shaped pattern and the rebound on coins. So good luck there on coin. Let's take a look at it from a daily perspective as well too. Recovering nicely after this massive down day and going to look like it's going to, in the near future, put it in a new high. Not an all-time high, I don't think, on coin. But again, a new high, yeah, see, not even close to all-time highs. But we broke this pivot here and continuing to move in the northeast, which is a really good sign. And guys, you know what I'm going to say? I'm not even going to say it. I'm just going to point at it. You have the volume. Well, I'll say it now. The volume is supporting it. So always keep that in mind, especially when you're looking for those continuation and moves. You want to see that steady average volume or the volume increasing as price appreciates on coins. So yeah, good luck. And I think the more popularity that crypto gets, the more adaptation that the world has on crypto and all these coins and all these altcoins is only going to benefit Coinbase. All right. So Sharif and I were talking about it. I have Coin Square, which is Canadian. So I don't know if people in the States have access to that, but that's something that we use. It's more of like a cold storage. Sateo would know a lot more about that, the crypto queen. But yeah, I've been always using Coin Square. I never had Coinbase.
Nice. Yeah, man. I was thinking about Mara today because Mara had a bad headline. So it's like one of the only negative names in the crypto world today. MARA. Look, man. You know they're doing their best, but their best isn't good enough. Sadly. Let's have a look at why they're down on the day. So it's an offering, guys, and they're looking at generating some cash over here. Meta offering $700 million in convertible unsecured senior notes due in 2030. But here's the look. This is what really I didn't like. Fine, you want to raise cash so you can kind of expand your operations and do a little bit better, fine. But look, they're raising cash to pay off their older bondholders. That to me, you know, it's not going to work. So up to $200 million of that $700 million is going to be used to repurchase their existing convertible notes that are due in 2026. So, like, look, it's been a short the pop type situation on Mara for a long time. What I can say though is there does seem to be an important level at $19. Okay. So however you feel about this name, that $19 is as important in my opinion as that 15. And we know what that 15 did. If you bought that 15, you did well, okay? That's just kind of the way it is with Mara. Mara has been hovering at 15 for a hot minute, but it also has an important level at 19. Look at the chop and churn we had over here all through spring. 19 was support, and then we broke through 19 to the downside, started hovering between 15 and 19. And 19 is kind of like the high end of this range, but we broke in above it again. So do we do the same thing that we did in the spring, use 19 as support and kind of range between it and $23? Well, who knows what we ranged from before to. 19 likely will be that kind of support base. In fact, the low of the day today, 1892, and we're right back at 2050. So that $19, an important level on Mara, just the same way that $15 level is. It's been it's been doing that for a hot minute. So we'll keep an eye out on Mara, see if we can.
From a daily standpoint, I don't know. That's a really tough look. I wouldn't want to
ugly.
own it. Yeah,
it's ugly.
Really ugly, dude.
We saw BPI. He battled with Mara daily, dude. Like daily, he was battling with Mara. Like it's a tough one.
No, it is nothing short of tough. Absolutely, yeah.
Annoying. Yeah. So that's the look there. We're still in STI, looking to extract some profits at 52.5, 53. I'm also in Meta here, looking for this to curl up, possibly into that 557. So looking at that one, where are we? We're at 56s, so we're about 15 pennies out of the money as it's printing 85s right now. I'm going to stop out if it breaks 55, so 555, excuse me. So that's my line in the sand there. Not much else going on for me over here. I should tell you guys that there's a couple of names that are moving that we didn't really talk about. Mobileye, I'm seeing over here, is having a hell of a day, and I'm assuming it has something to do with the what's it called? The autonomous driving pump. So Mobileye's up 10% today. Closed out 15 bucks on Friday. High of the day, almost 17, 16.93. Not one that we usually talk about. Holding VWAP over here. Again, there's no specific headline for Mobileye. It did get a bit of a nod today from Mizuho, maintaining neutral and boosting up the price target to 15 from 13. But I would submit to you that it likely has to do with the incoming regulations with respect to autonomous driving and whether or not they can get a federal legislative mandate for that, because right now it's state by state. So we already know Elon wants to do it in Texas and California coming up next year, but we'll have to see whether or not that happens or not, and whether or not the new federal regulations help change that, Joseph. So that's what I'm looking at there. Not much else going on in my world. I just want to remind you guys to vote for your favorite tickers. I see people talking about SMCI. Luis Suarez, vote for it, my man. Vin Duong talking about Tesla. Get into the chat and vote for it, but only the top 5 make it on. So make sure you're seeing what your friends are voting for and kind of voting their way.
Yep. Good luck there, guys. Just a quick review of everything that I had on the session so far. So we were sitting in this Palantir grind. We didn't take too much of a loss on it. We'll call that a break even there. There's a couple of cents there. 20 cents on PLTR. We didn't have too much size on that one because just of the momentum just waving off in the volume by time profile as well too. So we went 0 for 1 on Tesla, and then on PLTR, sorry, and then I mentioned this on Tesla, guys, and then I tried to take advantage of this before I got stopped out, but I mentioned this. If this 5-minute print was going to close a doji, I am going to look to long it, and sure enough, we got that big pop to the top side, and then I got stopped out break even right here, which is totally fine. I will look to take this again as well. As long as we don't break this low, this potential pivot low, then I'm going to look to get back into this trade, especially with the strong catalyst. We have Elon in Doge now, the Department of Government Efficiency. So we'll keep that in mind. I always keep an eye on the opening ranges as well too. But let's see, if it fails to break this low, then I do think we can slowly recover back to VWAP. And my dearest darling, IBIT is starting to recover, Sharif. I always say I'm not trying to milk a stone, but when things are working, you definitely want to milk stocks that are working over and over again in your favor. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do here, is just continuously milk this until it stops working or it tells me otherwise, all right? So we had 4 trades on that. 1 didn't work out, and as of right now, 3 of them are working out. So Rob EV, Tesla looking like a bear flag. Okay, I'll pull it back up and let me see. Let's assess this here, kind of. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying here. If I'm correct here. Let's see. Again, I have this definitive out. I think my thesis is incorrect at the break of 337.75. Until then, I do think it's valid and a potential turnaround. One thing you do have to keep in mind is that the volume on the selling pressure was starting to pick up, and when we are slowly kind of pulling back, the recovery, the buying volume is actually drastically falling off a cliff. So keep that in mind as well too. I'm not saying that either one of us is right or wrong. I have a planned thesis. Until then, I'm going to stick with it until proven otherwise, my friend.
All right, man. We took some outage over here on STI. Finally, was able to take out that 52.5 and 53. Now setting up at 54s. So we'll keep an eye out on this one. Small cap gapper trying to work its way up, possibly into the highs. The high of the day is 55 pennies. Yeah, so this one I really like because of the volume weighted average price, but it is setting up possibly as a head and shoulders. So what I'm looking for there is a hold up generally here below the high of the day, and then a move down to VWAP. If I see that, I'm out, because this is awfully, it's a nice shape to set up head and shoulders at, but I could be seeing what I want to see here. So not going to put too much stock into that until it does manifest to the downside. This bad boy closed out yesterday, or excuse me, not yesterday, Friday at 45 pennies. So we're not that high up on the day. So STI keeping a look at that APLD. I took everything out at that 20 penny area. So happy with how I traded this one. The second time around, that is, because it was a bit of a bamboozler the first time. Where is it? There it is, APLD. So we got out everything there. It's still continuing to range. So let me tell you, if it does come back into VWAP, which now is no longer at $8, about $8.04 or so, I could be persuaded certainly to get into that and eke out some profits there. I'm currently break even on Meta as this is holding above VWAP. It's putting in higher lows and higher highs, but I'm looking for a 56 break and take. I haven't been getting that. It's it's a nice little recovery. The future is still kind of in that consolidative look. We've been in a very consolidative look right now on the futures for the better part of, let's see how long this goes back. We got this kind of big boy sell-off at 11:45. So yeah, if you want to say the consolidation started around 11:50 or so, well, it's a 1:23 right now. So the better part of an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes with this area top over here at 20,668, and now we're heading down. So that ain't the look. That means Meta's probably heading down too, but we are stuck in this range a little bit. Let's see if we bounce off this area. That's not the look I wanted on the future because Meta coming down with this little future dump over here. But then you've got the likes of Google just printing or at day's high. This is unreal. The difference in the way the Mag 7 today are trading is I think a little bit more wide or a little bit more differential than usually how they trade. So 174.61 is the high. We're printing 59, so it looks like we're going to take out that high right now on Google, up 1 1/5. So Google's strong on the day, while some others are weak. Apple didn't work into that 230 quite yet. It did go into that $0.75. Coming back in, though, to the 10 exponential moving average, and there does seem to be a little bit of support here for Apple at that quarter to a fifth of a dollar. Look at this 2-candle hold up at the $0.25, and it also happens to coincide with the 10 exponential. So it could be an interesting entry here on Apple. And I look as the future got a bump up and Meta bumped up as well. So yeah, lots of different zigs and zags right now. And Nvidia, are you still in that position? It's heading up, Katina, man. Get it. We're going into 140 right now on NVDA. So good luck there, looking to take out that level. We were not able to get into 140s when I was involved with it. And there is 140. I think you got the print there. Shout out to you. This one continuing to move up with that 141.25. Yeah, almost a little bit higher than a quarter, being the high of the day today. But NVIDIA has really been kind of a bit of a tighter trade with that 137 to the low. And for the majority of the day, we've been below 140, but we're at it right now. Let's see if we can break and take 140 on, what is that? What do they call that stock again? NVIDIA. Yeah, that's the one.
And the Jensen, the chosen one.
So it's a little bit slower now. Let's delve into some of the weekend fights because there was quite a few. Wow. So let's start off firstly with Mike, because it was Friday. We'll go in chronological order. So number one, I couldn't see the entire fight. Everybody knows why. Netflix was having a whole bunch of trouble. You got to watch the fight. You got to watch the fight live and living color.
I got to watch the fight.
Give me your thoughts on the first 3 rounds, and then we'll talk about the rest of the fight.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think I was any short on my prediction.
I think you called it.
It was tough to watch. Again, if you're looking from an entertainment standpoint, it's the names that drew it. Again, raising Netflix is stock, no pun intended. But again, the fight for itself, it was painful to watch, and I think that can go for a lot of other people who are in the fight game. You don't want to see a 27-year-old man in his prime beating up a 56, 57-year-old guy, and you could tell he was feeling it. He hasn't been fighting for a long time. From an entertainment standpoint, they were going at each other. But I said this to Lars, I'm like, okay, you'll know after round 2 if it's kind of just like a show and stuff, right? And sure enough, that was the case, because I may be wrong on the rounds, but round 4 and round 7, Mike Tyson didn't land a punch. And I heard Sean saying this, he landed like 19 total punches or something in the whole fight.
Fight?
Yeah, in the whole fight.
Even the jabs?
Yeah, so like, you know what I mean?
Jeez, I thought that was just power punches.
And there was one point in the fight where it went to Mike's corner when he was sitting in the corner, and the look on his face was like, oh my God, it was sad. It's like, you don't want to see this, man. Someone who was just a born killer, you don't want to see them kind of going out like that. So
it kills your brand a little bit, but he got paid 8 figures. So that's kind of like the only thing that I think about.
Right. And it's kind of been the same narrative for Jake Paul. It's like, dude, when are you going to start fighting real people? And I mean, it's not that he isn't. It's just that the timing and then putting on a fight like this, I don't know, from like a moral standpoint, I get it. You're there to make money. And I'm glad that he did it. You can tell that he let off and he didn't like beat the man up,
yeah,
right?
That's what everybody's saying.
Exactly. So that I'm really glad about. But seeing that fight with someone at that age and who's probably on the borderline of being punch drunk, it's not something you want to
No,
see.
and I do agree with that, dude. I do agree with that. Just adjusting my stop 1
Yeah.
second over here. There we go. Yeah, so just putting that in.
But the John Jones and the UFC card was absolutely fantastic.
Okay, so that's the one I kind of wanted to talk about because a lot of people were saying that fight was going to be a lot closer. This guy couldn't hold a candle to John Jones, man. The thing is too, he's not even that fast, but he's just so precise and his timing is so good in the sense that like he waits, he looks at your footwork, and if you're on your lead foot and you can't back off because you can't push off, he can pick that up.
Yeah, of course.
And he can pick that up with a punch. He can pick that up with a kick. He's just so quick in that ways. It's really impressive to watch this guy.
He's so well-rounded, and it's crazy because since he moved up to heavyweight, it's almost like those fights have been slightly easier for him than when he was fighting at
funny?
Yeah, at light heavyweight.
It's like he doesn't have to make weight, so he doesn't have to worry anymore.
No, he doesn't have to worry. He doesn't have to worry about it. He just can go more in at his natural weight. But it's just, again, you mentioned this before. It's just the wisdom and the experience in the fight game just translated because I'm pretty sure his last light heavyweight fight was against Dominic Reyes, where people like, hey, Dominic might have won that fight. You watch it back and it's like, people have a valid point. Like Dominic might have won that fight. You know what I mean? So yeah. So that I like the fights. Charles Dubronx and Michael Chandler was obviously a banger. The co-main.
You see, that was a good fight too. I did.
That was a good fight.
That guy was he was down like 4 rounds. He
Yeah,
came back and he
like,
like throwing haymakers and he got himself back in the fight. That was respectful. I mean, obviously he felt like he was outgunned in terms of attack. Yeah, exactly, outclassed, but he still had the heart. And that's respectful. But what was this guy that John Jones doesn't want to fight?
Tom Aspinall.
So who is this guy, and why does he hate him so much?
Well, he doesn't. You know what? And I thought about this the other day. John Jones is like Michael Jordan. He'll make things up in his own head to get himself mad and amped up, right? That's what the bona fide winner does.
I love that.
Didn't Michael Jordan do that with Reggie Miller or something? He said that Reggie Miller said something about him, but he didn't say anything. Yeah, exactly, right? But it's just to get his mental right. So he's like, he didn't say anything, and that's what they did, and that's what he does. And now he's like, okay, now he wants to fight him. He beats Stipe, and he's like, okay, now we'll probably fight. He's gonna get 8 figures or something for that fight.
Man.
So, but yeah, Tom Aspinall is just an upcoming guy from the UK, English guy. English lad, and he knocks people out.
I didn't know who he was.
Yeah, he knocks people out.
Okay, so it's funny because John Jones, I was asked about him in the post-fight press conference. He's like, look, I don't like the guy, and I stand to make nothing off this. Well, money obviously, but he's not going to advance his career. So like he needs me, and I don't like him,
true.
so I don't want to give him the chance. Yeah. So yeah, to me,
that's all it is.
It's like
business.
That's king class.
John Jones is business first too. Don't get it twisted. And think about it, he didn't have the most active UFC career. It's like 2 fights max a year, and then in the latter half, it was like 1 every other year. But crazy. He prepares, right? Like the only man to go one other than Khabib, but he's essentially undefeated in the UFC at the pinnacle of the sport, and to stay on it at the pinnacle for 16 plus years is fantastic.
Sorry, Joseph, got to interrupt you. Something happened here with Google.
Yeah, Google.
I don't know what's going on, guys. Something, we just got a quick, huge wick up there and then a retracement. It's not continuing, but usually that means something happened here. Here it is coming in. NVIDIA partners with Google Quantum AI to accelerate next-gen quantum processor design using the CUDA-Q platform and NVIDIA EOS supercomputer, enabling large-scale noise simulations with 1024 H100 GPUs put together. Okay, so we already know, if you've been in this game a little while, you already know quantum computing, one thing, graphic processing GPUs, graphic processing units, an entirely different thing. Quantum computer, kind of the thing of the future. So a move up here looks like NVIDIA partnering with goggles to kind of bring that next generation AI look to quantum computing. We're going to have to obviously get more information on that as more information comes out. Here's some headlines over here, but this is the official presser. So I don't like to read the official presser, obviously, because they always kind of big it up a little bit. But 1,024 H100s, and they're going to be using Google's TPU, Tensor processing units. Who else uses TPUs? Oh, I know. Apple, they use their TPUs for all their AI stuff. Apple, we never heard anything about Apple buying GPUs from NVIDIA. There's probably a reason for that, because they haven't. They're buying they're buying TPUs from Google to build out their AI facility. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Meta coming down into that 555. So it looks like I might get stopped out, and I did get stopped out there. So tougher trading day for me, no question about it today. Haven't been able to catch a dub if my life depended on it today. So yeah, bit of a tougher one. No go there for META as it really comes down off that level. So tougher trading day. We'll keep an eye out for whatever else is moving. Let's have a look at the one that we were actually doing okay on. STI got that beak wetter at 53, but still eluding us is that 54 penny beak wetter. But yeah, it's a bit of tougher trading today on these Mag 7s. No question about it. So gonna have to kind of put on the brakes a little bit over here, Joseph. Don't want to get too down on the day. Keeping an eye on as well APLD, because this one is coming back into VWAP. So if this one wants to continue to play the range, I'll continue to play the range with it until it gives up the ghost. What I see, though, is a bit of a higher low situation over here, with each successive trough being a little bit higher than its predecessor. So what I'll do is look to get in at that 805 area, the volume weighted average price on APLD. Brother, what are you looking at?
Yeah. To NY Sen, I said, Joe, what do you think about playing puts on NVIDIA before earnings if you have been long and are in the money? I mean, if you really want to hedge that position, then by all means do so. But one thing that we are going to be talking about this week, guys, on the Thursday options lesson is expected moves, open interest, straddles, and strangles. So to NY, take a look at the expected move on NVDA and see how that equals with how much money you're in or the moneyness of your position, and see if it's worth either hedging a position, say at an extreme. If you really want to hedge your your long position, then look to see where the expected move is on NVDA, and we'll take a look at that shortly to see what you can potentially do and what kind of those hedge plays are looking out to be. It depends how much money, how much you're in the money as well too. So just keep that in mind. If you're really in the money and have been holding these contracts for a while or outright shares, then I don't know about if you really want to protect that downside and lock in that profit that you have, then you can put in that hedge trade. But until then, I think this stock is just too strong. The sentiment around this thing is too strong, especially if you have a further out expiry on the options. Just look forward to that to phase out, because there's no doubt in my mind within the near future, if it does decide it wants to sell, then it will recover. So just really take a look at those factors, the expected move on your position or on NVDA, and see where you are from a position standpoint to see if it's worth to hedge it. All right, guys. So take a look at that. Yeah. So Rivian. I know someone Nick W mentioned Rivian as well too. And someone asked me to look at FRO. I shall do that. And then Pretty Panda asked me
Holy cow.
Something along that. But Rivian, guys, I'm going to be frank with you on Rivian. I mean, this volume isn't horrible, but again, this isn't a stock that I'd be looking to play. As soon as I've seen this type of price action, I'm going to just switch to the next chart, right? And that's the same thing with Mara. If I see that type of price action, especially from a daily standpoint, then it's on to the next one for me. I'm not going to try to milk anything out of Rivian, especially I know it's an EV company. I'm not, that's Sharif's field. For me, I'm going to give the Mutombo,
finger wave.
yeah, the Mutombo finger wave. Yeah, exactly. So that one's a no-go. I'm just being frank with you, Nick Day, because I know you always have good things. But we're going to do an ad read quick, and then we'll go on to FRO.
Yes, sir. Joe, if you want to trade smarter and not harder, then your move is to upgrade to that elite trading experience. I'm talking about eSignal, baby. You'll be able to analyze, you'll be able to strategize, and hopefully after all that, you can capitalize by foreseeing those profitable opportunities with the platform that you need. You get everything. You get infinite data, instant trading. You get to know where the market is moving before others with that lightning fast data and execution. And a lot of people will say they got great charts that change the game, some would say, where you can customize and analyze the markets faster and in your way. And we all know a sound trading strategy requires good back testing, and that's what you get here. You get better back testing, better scanning. You can predict the future by understanding the past. You get that reliable, real-time data up to the second market information from hundreds of global markets and sources. It's everything you need all in one place, so don't miss a beat. Execute your best trades now if you are ready to elevate your trading. Only if you're ready, though. Scan the QR code and check the link, or I should say, check the link in the description for that deal. So shout out to the good folks there at eSignal. Okay, Joseph, so I want to talk about this trade that I'm involved in right now. I'm long at 81s and I just got stopped out for the rest, but this is a profitable trade. We moved up here on IONQ. Shout out to the OG Darwin who brought this little tidbit to my attention. So IONQ demonstrates industry first hybrid quantum computing workflow using NVIDIA CUDA Q platform and the IONQ Forte platform, advancing quantum acceleration for on-premises and hybrid deployments. It's a sell the news event, guys, but it did pop up, and we were able to eke out, I think, 25 pennies at the high there. Got stopped out for the last remaining 10%. This one is really tanking, dropping into 24 bucks. The low of the day, I should tell you on this, IONQ on the NYSE is 22. 27, essentially 22 and a quarter, but it looks like it might be defending 24 at the moment. And also, there's a bit of a consolidation range bottom at 23.80 at that 4/5 of a dollar. So if this run really gets going and gives up the ghost at 24, look for that 80 penny area possibly as support. But right now, it doesn't look like the blood is going to stop. Blood in the streets right now. Looks like this one's going to continue to go down here. Down, geez, 17.5%. Headline or not, IONQ taking a bit of a hit here. So we'll keep an eye out on this one if it wants to set up a bit better. Now, what's this one doing? STI, we're still hovering around 53. My next beak wetter is at 54, but I love this chart, not for its speed and not for how much money it's presented me with, but with the consistency of the trend and the holding up at the volume weighted average price. Good look right now on STI, 16.5%. But there isn't much that I can say I traded well today, but STI is definitely one of them there. Let's see what else everything is doing. Let's bring in the Mag 7, have a look at what they're up to. Oh, Meta just got right back in to that break-even point, 554, and caught another bid. So could this be a double bottom here on META? Now, if you get in here, you got to risk 40 pennies for that low day break. What's the future doing? Yeah, it's still in that consolidative, ugly trend. You know what that was. So we'll keep an eye out on that. But Meta, man, it's interesting me, Ram, because 554 keeps getting defended, but look, it's dropping again here. So what do you think, Ram? 554 long? 555 long, but then I'm gonna miss my entry. Yeah, well, last time you were right, so maybe I shouldn't argue with you. What were you asking me today about the short? Oh, Ram's getting on it now. Okay, so Netflix obviously had their issues on Friday. The first thing she thought in her mind, and I'm proud of her, she's like, yo, they must be shorting up Netflix right away. So I like that idea.
Mentality.
I like that idea, but here's what I thought about, Joe. I'm like, they got 60 million viewers, 120 million eyes looking at that screen.
At least.
That's what, yeah, at least. We don't know, but the people watching in restaurants and bars, they weren't counted, right? That, to me, is the operative thing here. I think they can fix the technology. They got, all you need is money to fix that technology, right? And we know they've got money. Absolutely. So it's just a matter of growing pains. So what I thought about was, holy cow, bro. We're not talking about, 10 million pay-per-view buys. We're talking about 60 million eyes. Now, granted, it wasn't a pay-per-view, Like we know DAZN does this, right? DAZN, you got to pay that monthly tariff, and then they have an in-app purchase. You got to get the pay-per-views. I know everybody hates it. Netflix could do that though, right? DAZN set the precedent.
They could.
So, you know.
But I mean, to attract that kind of, those amount of eyes is absolutely phenomenal. And we mentioned this before. It's like, this is just the first time they've ever held kind of a live sporting event like this.
Exactly.
So this is just scratching the surface on what they could potentially do. And if you continue to put on these big name fights with superstars like Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, then again, this is just the start of it. So expect more from Netflix. And with that, you're getting the increased viewership. Then you know what that's going to do from that start, from the top and bottom line. But also, what was I going to say?
Sir.
FRO. FRO. This is what I was going to look at here for the people. So Frontline, Cyprus-based company, primarily operates in the transport sector. The company's main focus is on seaborne transportation of crude oil and refined products. I don't mind FRO. It's not a horrible look there. But actually, no, sorry, it's not the best look is what I meant to say. It's not something I would be looking to get into. So that's just my quick look on FRO. There's other things that you can look to trade. But also to add on to Netflix, what I was actually going to say is like, think about how many people just signed up for the month just to watch the fight, right? So instead of paying $60 for a pay-per-view, you pay $20 or whatever it is for Netflix, and then now you got a month sub to Netflix, and you get to watch these live fights and
you
live
might
streams.
stick around.
And you might
because
stick
then you
around.
might like what you see, right? So
or
they
you just
hang on
totally
to you.
forget that you're sub to it, and
exactly,
then,
exactly.
And that's what
How many
most
people
people
have
do.
done
It's like $20 on that. So
no, you're bang on with that, dude.
Exactly. So
I like that look. I've always kind of liked that look. That bringing in subs via a big event because you may stick around, right? The chances are, whatever it is.
Whatever it may be.
All right, $5 super chat for Nick Dubb. Sharif, can you look at Lamb Research LCRX? I'm thinking about opening a long call option tomorrow. Nice support zone here. Absolutely. Let's have a look at LCRX. Let's bring it in over here. LRCX, excuse me. Here it is. Look, man, Lamb Research is a heavyweight. Let's just call a spade a spade. They're one of the heavyweights in the microchip business. So let's look at how they've been trading lately. Semiconductors, microchips, you guys know what I mean. 10-to-1 split happened back on October 3rd. We already got that split. So sometimes we have a bit of a wonky chart. Great support zone, Nick. Great support zone. I do like it. $70. We've had issues with that level back in the pandemic highs. That was the top in 2021, late 2021, before he said that magic word, transitory or not transitory. And then we got that defend again, or we worked up to that level again, July of last year, before we gave up the ghost and then obviously made all-time highs. So it's been a bit of a downtrend. We have defended this level before, once, twice, and you guessed it, OB dang thrice. So we're at 70 right now, but it could end up being, Nick. You don't want that smoke. You don't want that smoke from the flat bottom break. And let me make the bear case. I made the bull case. I like the level going historically all the way to 2021. But here's the bear case. Lower high, lower high, lower high with that flat bottom. Where have we seen that before? Yes, flat bottom breaks usually come in with successively lower highs with that same bottom being defended, and then it gives way. So I like the name, certainly. You're gonna have to keep an eye out on this one. Now, what's your move? So if it breaks $70, are you adding at the 200 exponential on the weekly at 65? Because we've seen, generally it does kind of defend the 200. You've got it over here on the weekly. It did breach it here, but we know obviously what happened in 2022. Everything was selling off. So this could be an outlying event. The market was down big in 2022. So kind of think about that one. I don't know, man. Maybe $65, maybe half the position, Nick. Or I know you're doing it through options. I don't know if you can do it this way. I don't know, Joe, tell me. If I want to get half the position at 70, another half at 65, is that doable with options, or does it work
Well,
like
you
that?
would have to scale in essentially because one contract is one contract, right? So
okay, fair.
So if you're going
You'd
with
have
a
to have
two
a couple of
contract,
different
if you're
contracts.
going to have multiple
So if
contracts.
you're going to take 4 contracts on things, two and two,
two
then
and
that's
two,
the other way?
exactly.
Fair, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that's kind of how I see it. But again, I don't know fundamentally too much about the company. I know that they are a heavyweight, obviously, in the microchip semiconductor space. Elon, isn't LCRX a bear flag? You're not wrong, Elon. Absolutely. Pull, sideways consolidation. You're right. But the thing is, we're above the 200, we're below the 50, though. Let's look at the daily. So this is the weekly. Let's look at the daily over here. Or what happened to that? There we go. Let's flip to the daily. Yeah, you're right, man. I mean, it's a tough look. It is a bit of a tough look. I do like the $70 support. I like 65 as well. Maybe do like what I'm doing with ASML and pick it up incrementally. Like I picked up a couple of shares, of ASML last week. I'm like 50 bucks, 40 bucks out of the money. That's fine, right? I know ASML is a monopoly and likely going to run up into next year, so I don't have to pick it up all at once, little by little. But right now, Lamb Research, it's an interesting one. I'd say work your way into it. Let me know how it goes, Nick. Obviously, want to hear about you printing. No question about that. Let's flip back to this STI, see what we're doing. We're still at 53 pennies. Nothing doing there. Joe, what are you looking at?
Yeah, Boat. Did you see the $5 super chat from Boat?
Oh, I missed that.
No, bang. Thank you. Amazon a buy here. Oof. It's near the $200 support level.
Oh.
Yes, that it is. Is it a buy? I'm not too sure. Boat, I don't know about catching falling knives today or in general, but again, it is a buy eventually. I don't know specifically at 200. I would look for this candle low to hold before you get into that. As of right now, it's definitely one of the weaker mega techs, so it's down about 0.6% on the session, and it was lagging the other consumer discretionary peers. While Tesla was trading higher, it was chopping around, essentially doing nothing, so keep that in mind. But again, I do have some bull puts that I am looking to open and probably have filled at this point on the day. So again, I am long-term bullish, but again, I have a little bit more room from a bull put standpoint because I'm just looking for time to chew up the contracts opposed to looking for a specifically directionally biased trade. But I do like this. I'm going to be playing this gap fill here, so keep that in mind. Is it going to be a buy over at 201.50s? Or hold 201s, I'm not 100% sure. Look for those VPA signals. Look for what volume and price is telling you. Look at the order book. Look at the time and sales, and see if it tells you to buy at that specific level. Boat. So I like that look. And also, I'm going to point out one more thing here on NVDA, and I'll send it back off to Sharif here. But again, I think if this print stays how it is, if we close as a doji here with literally next to no volume on the session, then I'm gonna like that, and then I'm gonna look for a potential rebound in this stock, and then maybe we go and push these all-time highs. But again, we do have the report coming up shortly on the horizon, so keep that in mind. But if otherwise, I like this signal here from a daily standpoint. I'm gonna keep my eyes on that and look to play off of that, my guy.
Man, let's see what people are talking about here in the chat. Let me just tell you, got 1 minute to vote. Super quick. Last minute before, what's it called? Streamlabs cuts off the voting. Exclamation point, the word join space, $. Choose your favorite ticker. Tesla's up 4.5%, was gapping up big. You got a lot of other names. Alibaba had an offering, so did Mara. We know that, what else was making moves today? Let's see my watch list over here of things that were making moves. Mara, I mentioned. Alibaba, super microcomputer. Hopefully they stay listed. We'll be able to come tomorrow and be able to trade them. Who knows about that? Roku also got upgraded by Baird, and Taiwan Semi is expanding all their facilities hand over fist. Maybe you want to hear about that. Or maybe you want to hear about the Blackwell chips that are overheating in the servers. Hear what the Katina man and the Obe, he is the one Knob, has to say about them. Throw them in the chat. I think you got like 30 seconds left, or it may be already out of time. So we'll keep, let me know exactly how that goes. I'm long Meta again here. Possible double bottom off 554. I waited till that level that Ram told me was the right level, Ram. I waited till 555. So if I don't make money on this, Ram, you owe me money. I'm just joking, of course. And this happened to coincide with a VWAP hold and a 20,600 dip and pop. We're about a little bit higher than that right now, 20,620. We did dip a bit aggressively here on the future, coming into that 100-point level and the volume-weighted average price. But it looks like we're bumping up a little bit here. And you also had the likes of NVIDIA. Just glance. You just took a quick look at VWAP, then rocketed back up about 70 pennies. So good look there for whoever was long with a resting order at VWAP on NVD. Bang! We took, finally, I got something on Meta. I can't believe it. Where are we long, Joseph? I don't even know where we're long because Ram took the position board off. We are long at 94s. We got the print at $0.25. Let's see if this one wants to rise up a little bit more. It's got a local area of resistance at 556. And let me show you the neckline over here for the double bottom. We don't know if this is going to be a double bottom or not, but this is the neckline, the operative area if you're looking for the breakout trade. Also, what you should be looking for before you want to see a double bottom is a downtrend, right? Because a double bottom is a reversal pattern. So it's got to have something to reverse. It can't reverse an uptrend, right? So, or that's got to be a double top. So we'll look to see if this one continues to weasel up. I've already put my stop a little bit below my entry. Hopefully this one pumps up a little bit more, Joseph, but we only have about 8 minutes left.
Yeah, man, time flies, I swear, on the show sometimes. MN America, $2 super chat. Thank you for the show. No, thank you for the super chat. What's going on with Mara? I know Sharif touched on this not too long ago here. So again, it's just something, again, a Bitcoin miner, it's really tough to be in these types of plays. It's best to just hold probably the underlying asset or the ETF possibly. As you can see, we did fill this gap to the downside, which is really nice here. But just keep in mind, it's really tough being a miner. What's going on with it when Bitcoin is trending? Again, the selling pressure will just pick up as Bitcoin decides to put on its descent there. So guys, just keep that in mind. It's a miner. It's having a rough day. It's putting in a couple rough days, especially after the earnings report. So just keep that in mind.
It's got a really, really sick way of selling off every pop, bro.
Yeah, everything. It's like fade everything. It's like fade everything. Fade on. Literally, just fade everything on this thing, especially if it's failing to make any new highs, failed to break this pivot high here as well too, and then just filled this gap to the downside. So again, not something you want to be in for the long term. So that's going on. That's what's going on with Mara. As for Google, one of the stronger Mag 7s, still crawling higher, up about 1.17% on the session. I had that news drop that Sharif pointed out as well too, and then kind of put in this volume signature. So we'll keep an eye out. Let's see if we can continue to the northeast here and make a new high of day. But as for IBIT, it's continuing to sell off right now, which kind of sucks, but that's okay. We have faith. So again, we just had lower highs, forming this downtrend on Bitcoin and IBIT. So again, once that held, and then you had that flat bottom break here, once you breach VWAP, kind of just forming that wedge now, that descending wedge, and sure enough, it breaks to the downside with some momentum. So just keep that in mind, guys. I think at some point it will recover. I don't know when. Here, I'll pull up the actual underlying asset, Bitcoin, and what I was kind of seeing. And Sharif, you know, I like the ABC pattern, especially in strong stocks or strong underlying assets, strong coins, whatever. What I was expecting is that eventually we sat on top of this range, and then we made that push to 100K. But as of right now, the consolidation phase is slightly longer than what I thought it was going to be. And I think it has a little part to do that this little extended play all the way up to close to 95K exhausted a little bit more buyers than what we would have liked. So just continue, as long as we continue to consolidate in this range, maybe we get a little liquidity grab. But no doubt in my mind, in the foreseeable future, we go higher and push 100K, my guy.
We respect that, man. Just took another beak wetter there on META at 60. So we'll look to the next little beak wet I've got 554 mid 80s. We're printing 70s right now on the ask. It's going to have to cross. Let's see now, printing 85s on the ask. Can it cross over here? It's going to have to move up on the bid, obviously. Here we go. 89s now. It's going to have to cross on the ask. Let's go on the bid. Excuse me. It's already crossed on the ask, and bang, nice. So 70 penny winner. Still negative though. I don't want you guys to get excited on MET. I'm negative on the day. So that's just kind of the way that is. But we're in a 70 penny winner right now on MET. Looking for this one to bump up a little bit more. Let's set up a beak wetter at 555 1/4 because I'm born on the 25th and I like that number. So we're going to put it there. See if we can print up on there. Nice double bottom on META so far, 554 double bottom, and that 554 level, that is Friday's closing print. So it is a level of importance. It's not the end all and be all. It could absolutely give way, but it's something to put the odds in our favor, and that's kind of what I was looking at there. So let's see if we can weasel up a little bit more here. Above 555, we've been having issues with that level because it's kind of coinciding with VWAP as well. 555 and the volume weighted average price like 10 pennies off each other, 8 pennies off each other. So there is likely to be some resistance in and around that level. Back up into 555 we go as that wave of green comes in on my time and sales. But I like to see orange on my time and sales because orange means exuberant buying because it's coming above the ask. That means buyers are just so exuberant, they're willing to pay above what the minimum payment or the minimum price, the minimum ask being posted on the market. So when you see that wave of orange and wave of green, you know that there is aggressive buying coming in. Sometimes we call that liquidity grabs. So we'll see if this one wants to break above 555. Certainly is taking its sweet time. But there's another one that's kind of setting up similar to Meta, and it's Microsoft. They both have kind of the double bottom look, and they're both coming off levels from Friday, that closing print on Friday. You can always tell the closing print on my charts because you'll see a thin white line there. See these right over here? Those are the closing prints from Friday. So double bottom for Microsoft, double bottom for Meta, setting up in that way. But there are only two that are setting up in that way. So we'll keep an eye out on this one. I probably will not trade this once the show is over because I'll have to weasel on up into the green or onto the green screen. Here we go, 555s again, Ram, and it's just not taking out that level. 14s now showing up on the ask, 89 on the bid. We're gonna have to cross above 25 for me to get printed, but that selling coming in fast and furious. And yeah, we're gonna probably have to pack our patience before we get that fill, if we get it at all, Joseph. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Any final thoughts, brother, as we wind down the last 2 minutes of the show?
Yeah, great lesson on moving averages. I remember when I first started trading, my first strategy that I started using was the 9 and the 20. So that cross to the top side, I would look to take the longs. Other than that, guys, we traded some PLTR, took an L on PLTR, and then BTC as well, too, is pretty much our big winner. Oh, sorry, IBIT is our big winner on that one. Sorry. All right, anyways, I'll send it off to Sharif. That's my final thoughts. You guys seen that? You guys seen the trades on that as well earlier, so keep that in mind. What do I got going on here?
G. Wilkers. Can you guys stop saying weasel? I'm sorry, man. You know, sometimes we were just talking for 3 hours, so we tend to have like, well, I'm just speaking for myself here, tend to have these expressions that we use. I don't mean to bother you, brother, but we're having a good time. Shout out to Elon, great work, Sharif and Joe, stay green. Yeah, it's gonna take a lot more for me to stay green today, but thank you for the good wishes, Elon. Hasn't been my day, but that's all right. It can't be our day every day. The dead one Apple is moving up over here, guys, and the future is on the way up as well. Good 20,600 defend there, Katina, man, because I think it held it to the dang T. So 20,600, he's flossing up a storm there. 60 light handles in the money on that side of the desk. Shout out to the Katina man, and he is the one, Kanob, coming up in a hot second. Joe, we got about 30 seconds left on the show. Kill him with kindness, my man.
That's it. Kill him with kindness, guys. Put those stops in. Make sure you collect data on your strategies. Have those stops in. We got a big earnings report coming up shortly in the coming days on the horizon. Then we got some retail. TJX,
retail.
TGT, Walmart, all these big retails coming up within the week, guys. So make sure you get prepared for that and write out your trade plans.
Yes, absolutely. Sound trading plan, guys. All right, it is now 2 o'clock. It's time to send you to the big kahunas on that side of the desk. But Joe and I will be back, same bat time, same bat channel. Take it over, big guys.
Yo, we're in the building one more time. I was just tweeting this out. We're long NASDAQ right here, so hopefully that will continue to make it move up.